Hello friends, welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to a chill stream where I will be building some sort of overlay, something about Patreon. Welcome to the stream, everyone. So yeah, I have a Patreon. Patron? I have a Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/codinggardenwithcj, you can support me. And what I want to do is build some sort of overlay that shows all of the patrons that currently support me. And earlier, I built a very simple API that returns all of the patrons. I didn't want to build this on stream because it has like emails and first names and last names, and I don't know if everyone that is a patron wants their name to be said. So the API I built only includes their first name, when they became a patron, what level of reward they are, and how much they are supporting me with each month. So we're going to use this API in some way. We'll figure that out. Let's say hello to everyone. Hello, John D. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Josh. Hello, Ben. Hello, Conrad. And yes, I am very late, and I apologize. Actually, I don't apologize. I'm late. It is what it is. Hello, Sam. Hello, Casual Gameplay. Hello, Jorge. You're going to miss the stream. That's okay. It's going to be chill. We're just going to hang out. Good afternoon, Sacred Gaming. Yeah, Andrew's not going to be able to watch. That's okay. Like I said, it's a chill stream. It's okay. But Andrew's bot will be dropping, so watch out for those Andrew drops. And Alka is already on the leaderboard with a 94.8. Great work, Alka. I expect nothing less. Hello, Mahidra. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, Sacred Gaming. I will see you later. Thanks for stopping by. Hello, Renzot. Hello, Carolinda. Hello, you. Hello, Doc. Josh says, I still love the new intro, both song and animation. I appreciate that. Yeah, it grows. It feels like it grows on a lot of people. Mahidra has a question. What are web workers? Are they important, and how do we use them? We can maybe try to answer that later. I haven't really used web workers much. You might mean service workers, but we can maybe talk about that. Yep, I have a Patreon. Patreon.com/codinggardenwithcj. I think I closed the tab. But if you go to coding.garden/support, there's a link to my Patreon and a link to a one-time donation and all that good stuff if you would like to support me. Hello, Amadal. Hello, Ellen. What's up, Brandon? Josh, I just discovered there's another Joshua around these parts. Wait, was there a different Joshua that I responded to? I thought that was you. Oh, well. Yeah, Alka's just out here dropping. He doesn't even know. He's making it on the leaderboard. Hello, Ets. Doc says, how are you finding today's advent of code? It's really hard. So I started it last night when it releases at 10 p.m. my time. And I got the first part, but really only because Alka helped me immensely. Like, I tuned into his stream. Check out Alka on Twitch. He'll probably be streaming tonight again. What time is it? It's almost 7, 8, 9, 10, roughly 3 hours. Yeah, Alka's going to be streaming in about 3 hours. But he's been streaming himself solving these every night. And I couldn't even understand what this thing was asking for. Like, I didn't even know how to solve the first part. But once Alka explained it in a way that I could understand, I was able to solve it. But then again, with part 2, I don't even know what it's asking for. So this one is the hardest by far. But I didn't do part 2, I at least got part 1. So I'm going to attempt to do day 8 whenever that gets released. But things aren't looking good. Like, if there's 24 more days of these and they keep getting that hard, I don't know. Because, like, I literally spent probably 3 hours, 2.5 hours just trying to figure out what was going on. But yeah. Hello, memes. That's okay. Thanks for stopping by. It's 2:04 a.m. here, and I'm dealing with MBR and GPT. Welcome. Yeah, Alka's still working on part 2. I slept on it, and I thought I had an idea this morning, and even this morning I worked on it and couldn't figure it out. But yeah. Hello, Simon. Welcome. Oh, I see. Joshua is saying, I'm not a patron, but there's a Joshua on the API. Yeah. Right there. And like I said, I could put last names on here, but I don't know if all of my patrons want to publicly display that they are my patrons. So I just have first names, because there's a lot of people with the name Joshua. Yeah. And hello, V. Elber. Welcome. En lengual programación. English. I think that's what you're asking. In programming language. Oh, JavaScript. JavaScript. Doc is saying one weird JS trick for part 2, async generator functions. Yeah. Yeah, because you could yield. So that's what I was thinking about. So this is totally out of context for no one that's done Advent of Code, but that's kind of what I thought of this morning when I woke up is that when this produces an output, you actually stop the execution and send that output to the next amplifier. And then when it makes its way back around, amp A still has the previous program state and will continue from there using the output of E as an input. That was my thought this morning. And so generators would make sense because you could yield the execution until it comes back around to run on that amplifier again. But I still couldn't figure it out. I don't know. Alan is asking, is there anything to crack? No, in this drop me? No, it's totally random. If you see other people dropping, you can drop in exactly the same time, and you may bump into each other, and that makes things interesting, but it's mostly just random. Yeah. That's true. 2, 5, and 7 have built on each other, so those ramped up. I guess, yeah, so once they introduce a new thing, it's relatively easy until it gets built upon. I have a feeling that the orbits problem, I think day 6, I have a feeling that's going to make a comeback. And I improved my program. So I had shared it with Alka, and it was super slow. It would take like 40 seconds to build the tree with like the 1,700 inputs. But I improved it, and now it happens like in a split second. Casual Games with the Patreon pledge. Thank you so much. Let's take a quick stretch. But I can show you on my API. It pulls directly from the Patreon API. Yeah, it took that long. It was a really dumb way of building the tree because you're given an array of flat nodes, and you don't necessarily know well, you have basically what I was doing is I was finding the root and then iterating again to find its children and then iterating again to find their children. It was insanely slow, but then I found a way of like mapping the nodes first. So that tree, the code to solve this is pristine. It's ready to go for the next challenge that they throw at us. But yeah, but let's look at the API. So that was a $5 one, and actually right now I have it sorted by amount, but we can also, with no sort parameter, it'll send it back in the order that they came in. So right now, Danny is the oldest patron. He's been here since, June of 2018, so that's great. But if we scroll all the way to the bottom, there's Casual. Thank you so much. Awesome. Oh, Alka says a Twitch staff member showed up and should help, and then, wow, that's pretty cool. Simon's saying, any upcoming updates on the TMI.js Twitch bot in the near future? I don't know. Alka's watching. We can pair at some point. I've been really busy lately. You might have noticed that I haven't streamed as often in the past, like, 2 weeks or so. But hopefully that will end pretty soon. Let's hydrate. Oh, and actually, I've got my, oh, this has caffeine in it? Oh, I got a Soylent. Cafe Vanilla. I don't know if I want to drink caffeine this late. How much caffeine? Can't be that much, right? Interesting. I'll take a look at that bin. That's a nice little tricky JavaScript thing. I'm curious. I'm gonna look it up. How much caffeine is in this? Cafe Vanilla Soylent. Caffeine content. And this is the smaller one. This is the 20%. Soylent Cafe. Man. I just want to know how much caffeine is this in this, so I know whether or not to drink it. This is the 11-ounce version. $110 mg. I'm not gonna drink this. Casual gameplay. I haven't even written any code yet. Oh, casual gameplay. Thank you so much. Casual gameplay with the $50 donation. Emojis, emotes in the chat, hype in the chat. Thank you so much. That is a lot of caffeine. Oh, wait, that's the 320 calorie? Is that this one? Yeah. Should I drink it? I should probably I'm gonna drink it. 30 milligrams. 110. It's got L-theanine in it. Maybe I'll write. You know what? Maybe I'll actually solve Advent of Code tonight if I drink this. Casual gameplay. You're too nice. Too nice. I've thought about creating an API with a list of all the donations as well. It's the weekend. Live a little. Yeah, but I don't want. So the thing is, if I stay up all night or if I stay up till like 4 a.m., my Sunday is shot. Like, my Sunday is over because I'll wake up at like noon or 1. And then I gotta go to work Monday. But, you know. I spilt a little. That took a little convincing. I consume a lot of caffeine. I don't know. It has a weird taste. You could probably do the first letter of the last name. Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. I could do that. But like I said, I don't want to advertise these people's names if they don't want to be advertised. I'm going to stick to first names for now. In the future, I might have a way where people can like log in and set a preference, like, yes, show my name on stream or don't. You know. Hello, memes. Don't drink it. My plan is to use. Oh yeah, so I totally forgot. But my plan is to use this patron data in some way. And if you have any ideas for how I can do that, please throw them in the chat. One way I thought of doing it is just like at the middle of a stream or at the end of the stream, I can have all of their names and patron level scroll across the screen, and I'll read them out. But what are some other cool things we can do with all this information? We could also create like something at the bottom of the screen here. That's just like a marquee with all of the people's names always scrolling across. I want some way to showcase all the people that support me. Patrons get better odds in the drop game. That would be awesome. But I would need to sync them up somehow, because right now I don't have patron information about people in the chat. It's a possibility. They would have to log in so that I could link them together. But yeah. Mahidra is asking, how do CodePen, REPL, Code Sandbox execute code in the browser, and how can I build that as a project? We can talk about that. A lot of times, well, things like Code Sandbox, I'm pretty sure actually execute your code in a container or like a virtual machine. So it's not actually executing on your machine. It's executing in the cloud, and you see the result. Joshua Ferris with the $5 Patreon pledge. Thank you so much, Josh. That means there's going to be 2 Joshes on the list. Let's refresh. There he is. Thank you so much. You all are too nice. Too nice. Oh man, that's great. Josh is saying, I think if they were synced up, you could add a marker to their chat messages. Yeah, that's another. Let me just like start writing down ideas, because that's another point. So like in my live chat over here, you get a patron badge in your name. Also, I could maybe prioritize patron messages in my chat manager over here. So messages that come from patrons, I would read first. I mean, the thing is, right now, that's scalable because I have now 33 patrons. 33. If it ever gets a ton, it's harder to prioritize that. But for now, that could be something that I do. Patreon overlay. Ideas. Show patron badge in live chat window. Yeah, so Patreon does have like an OAuth 2 flow, so you could hook that up with Grant. Add Flare to their message. Flare? I don't know which one. I think Flare is, yeah, I think it's this one. You need at least 15 pieces of Flare. This is flames, like a flare and a fire. Yeah. Wait, I'll save your question, Mahija, for later. Slinus says, I need to more watch on this channel. So good. Thank you, Slinus, and hello, welcome. Have you seen that tweet with JS functions that executes comments? No. Feel free to, you can link me on Twitch. Twitch will allow you to send links, but I haven't seen that, and that sounds interesting. Okay, so this is in reference to advent of code. Exactly. If you have your output equals execute program function from previous days, you can just replace input with an async generator and run them all in parallel. Oh. Yeah. Bob got to part 3 of advent of code and quit. Yeah, and so yeah, Alka is streaming basically every single night all the way up until Christmas. So we'll probably sync up in the new year to work on that Twitch bot thing. And then maybe we'll like launch it as like a platform as a service. That could be a way you support me, is pay $5 a month for the Twitch bot. Alka gets 50%. I don't know. Okay, this came from Ben, who's basically asking like what happens when this code is executed. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I've always like, I should start a platform as a service, right? Make some passive income. Okay, so let's follow these curly braces. So the curly braces are here, and the alert is inside of a comment. And then we're taking the parentheses here, sending it to string, and then slicing 13 and -5. Yeah, easy enough. So if you're not familiar, in JavaScript, the function object actually accepts a string, and then we'll execute that code. So what happens is you can do something like this, alert. Oh. Wow, and it will actually evaluate this string to turn it into actual JavaScript and then run it. Oh, but it needs to, I guess it needs to be like a callback function or something like that. Oh, do we need to store it in a variable? Yeah, we stored it in a variable because that's it created a function because that's the function body. And then we invoke it. Yeah, and then it alerts. Cool. So what Ben was showing was, well, not that. Let's go back to it. I see. Yeah, so it created the function, then we execute it. So what's happening here, I believe, is the slice 13 and -5 are actually removing this. Yeah, it's removing the inner function and removing this. So that way we end up with a new function with only alert inside of it. So basically the slice removes the extra junk. So it basically removes the comments, and then we're just left with alert. So before I run the code, before I run it, let's do this, and you'll see that it breaks. Let me see, ert. Let's see. Yeah, I think you're. It doesn't seem to work. These numbers need to be adjusted. 13AL. So this needs to be 11, and this needs to be 3. There we go. But that's why it works. Hello, Ran. Welcome. In casual gameplay with the $50 donation. What do I do? What do I? Thank you so much. Yeah, this is a lot of caffeine. Let's drink it all. Yeah, it feels bad like watching you care so much about that. It's really because like I think this happened Thursday night. I drank caffeine at like 8 p.m. That was only like 30-40 milligrams of caffeine. It worked on my machine. Well, that's weird. But I was up till like 3 a.m. So Palundrium is asking, how often do software devs get to work with Linux stuff? It depends. As a full stack developer, I actually do a lot of DevOps and deployment, and I'm working with Linux all the time there because I have to like set up Linux servers, set up load balancers, set up SSL certificates, configure servers, that kind of stuff. But not everyone gets to do that. That's just something I do because that part of my job is to work on servers as well. $50 of Domino's. Yeah. How much time before this becomes your full-time thing with Patreon? It's hard to say. Honestly, like it's hard to say. And the thing is, as a software engineer, I make a lot of money, and it would take a lot of patrons to get the same salary that I get as at my current job. So I would need other things. I couldn't just run. To live the lifestyle that I'm living now, I could not just run. I don't think there's that many people in the world that would support me. I mean, maybe there are, but I would need to do other things as well. So I could make premium course content, like premium videos that people could pay money for. I could have like software as a service. I basically need to diversify if I want to start doing YouTube full time. And also because I disabled ads on my channel. Like I don't want to make income through ads because like on a personal level, I don't like advertisements. So I don't want to do that. Because you might see a lot of other YouTube channels that are even as small as mine that actually are making money, but that's because they do ad reads. And they have like tons of affiliate links in all of their videos, and I don't really want to make money that way. So I don't know. We'll see. Cool. Mima says, I'm excited to see some code. Earlier today, I worked on a cross-site scripting sanitizer, and it worked fairly good. Well, that's good. Though, as a sanitizer, you would want it to work very good, not just fairly good. But it's good to learn about that stuff. Mahidra says, you said container. Are containers a virtual machine? And my question is, what is Docker? Why is it important? How to use it? And will I do a Docker live stream? Yeah, so when I say container, I typically mean a Docker container. If you're new to all of this stuff, a Docker container is similar to a virtual machine in that you can have many containers running on one set of hardware, just like you can have many virtual machines on a set of hardware. But where it differs is the actual execution model, because a container shares operating system code. Like it shares the Linux kernel, it shares all this stuff, and they're just sectioned off. Whereas virtual machines are completely separate and they have their own virtual hard drives, and whereas containers share some stuff. Can I explain this? I'm going to leave it there for now, and then we'll come back to it. Cool. JavaScript puzzle. There we go. Alka says, I use Linux, WSL, Windows subsystem for Linux on Windows in my daily programming. Yeah, that's true too. And it seems like because Microsoft and C# are doing more and more open source stuff, they're supporting Linux because it's an open source kernel, and there's a lot of distributions based off of it. And I mean, it's the reason that I use a Mac, because the Mac operating system is based on FreeBSD, which is based on Unix, which is, or like POSIX, which is similar to Linux, and it supports all the same commands like ls and all that good stuff. And there are a lot of Linux tools that work on Mac as well, which is why I like to use a Mac as my development machine. Ben says, can I have one business idea related to Node as SaaS, or we can talk in private? I have a few questions too. Yeah, feel free to DM me on Discord. I've never built a SaaS company before, and I'm not very business minded or business savvy, so I'll try to help out, but I don't know much. Yeah. And thanks for the follow, Shadow42. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Majestic Eye. It's pretty good. Oh, I wanted to tell everyone. So, life hack: go to Chick-fil-A at 10:20 a.m. because it's about 10 minutes before they start serving lunch, and at least the Chick-fil-A's that I go to do not have spicy chicken biscuits. They only have regular chicken biscuits. But at 10:20, they start cooking lunch. So you can order a spicy chicken sandwich, which is on the lunch menu, order a biscuit, which is on the breakfast menu, and then combine them to get yourselves a spicy chicken biscuit, which is what I did to start my day today, and it was great. So yeah, my day is good. And hello, Julian. Welcome to the stream. The chat manager ate my code. Oh, view the source. Okay. Oh, I see. Haha. Okay, we'll try to explain it. Or figure out what's happening. Yeah, Alka got to the top of the leaderboard before the stream even began, so. Oh, Linux has a, well, I guess it depends on your distribution, but it might be like the GNOME operating system or the window manager that GNOME uses. Is it Compiz or something? I don't know. I haven't used that stuff in a while, but yeah. Cool. All right, let's explain this code, and then we'll figure out what to do with this Patreon data. So like I said, if you have any ideas, yeah, drop in Chick-fil-A life hacks. If you have any ideas for what to do with this patron data, I think one thing that I'm going to do is I will make like a credits roll. So I can play that maybe in the middle of a stream or at the end of the stream, where it'll just say Coding Garden is supported by the following people, and it scrolls like movie credits and it has their name and their patron level. I think that's the first thing that I'm going to build. But if you have any other ideas for what I can do with this data to showcase it in some way, please throw that in the chat. Okay, so I see. So basically we have the word constructor here. And we're using bracket notations to access the constructor property of it. And every object in JavaScript has a constructor property. So this is like a red herring. Technically, I'm pretty sure we could just do that. So we grab its constructor, which is the string constructor. And then we grab its constructor, which would be the object constructor. And then we invoke the object constructor with, oh, maybe it's the function constructor. And then we invoke that with that. So maybe that it turns into the function constructor. Yeah, so if we do, you own the chat. If we do that dot constructor, that should give us the string constructor. Oh, and if we get its constructor, we get the function constructor. Yeah. And so this turns into similar to what was happening before. So at this point, we have the function constructor, and so we actually invoke it with the string. That could be anything. Wow. And then invoke that function that we create. So yeah, that's fun. Yeah. It's a crime to watch you at the same time doing code class. The i3 tiling manager. Cool. I've never used that before. And thanks for the YouTube sub, Augusta. What's this about? Owning the chat? I can't see. Did you hack Twitch? What's going on? Is that a new Java 12 constructor feature? What? No, this is JavaScript. I'm running in the browser. So no, in JavaScript, you can dynamically access the constructor of the type of the thing that you're accessing the constructor property from. So yeah. And thanks for the follow, Sponge Junior 78. Welcome. All right. Oh, it's a screenshot of the chat being mostly drops. I see. So I wouldn't call that owning. I would call that spamming, Andrew. And as a mod, you should know better. Shulian is asking, what do you recommend for preloaded assets on the front end, like images? Any advice? I don't have a lot of experience with this. We can save this question for later, but you might use, if you're already using like Webpack, they have loaders that can optimize images. They have loaders that can embed images as base64, so they load in the initial load of the page. So there's things like that, but I haven't done a lot of that. Jonathan, hello Jonathan, was saying, I was wondering if there was a compare to in JavaScript. If not, is there a way to implement it? Where does compare to come from? Is that like Java? Java compare to. I think C# probably has a compare to as well. Let's see what it does. The method compares the number object. Oh, so this is compared to on the number? Yeah. Compares the number object that invoked the method to the argument. It is possible to compare byte, longs, and integers. So in JavaScript, there's only one number type. So in JavaScript, you only have floating point numbers. So even if you had like 99.9, you can do a comparison with 99, which is, I mean, you could call it an int because it doesn't have a decimal, but they're all floating point numbers. So you do that. Alka is saying typed arrays exist. So yeah, you're right. There's like uint 8. Let's look it up on MDN. But yeah, I'm curious where you would run into a scenario where you're trying to compare like an integer and a float, because in JavaScript, for the most part, everything is a float. But let's look at it. Oh, for strings. Compares two strings and gives a value based on its ASCII. So let's look up the strings. Compare to. Big int. Big int. This method compares the string to another object. Jonathan, if you can give me some sample code, like what would be one thing that you're trying to do in Java, and I could try to convert that to JavaScript for you, because this is fairly general. I mean, yeah. So if you have a specific code example, I can try to convert that. Oh yeah, we were looking at typed arrays. These are interesting. I've never really used them, but typed arrays allow you to create actual types, number types. Yeah, so. Int 8 array, uint 8 array, int 16 array, uint 16, uint float, big int, big uint. You could use them in Canvas. Yeah, I've never had to use them, but this is a fairly recent feature in JavaScript. Let's see. Yeah, so initially standardized in ES 2015, which is ES 6. Yeah. Oh, you can directly modify pixel data. That's pretty cool. Okay. And hello, Boyan. I was thinking about, like, seriously, I thought it was like, Boyan has not been in the chat in a while. I hope he's doing okay. Hello. Ben is asking, as a developer, how often do you fix modems, install Windows, and being asked to hack a Facebook account? I don't know. The thing is, I know how to do all of these things because I also worked in IT. Oh, and Andrew is at the top of the leaderboard with a 99.35. But yeah, so like before I became a software developer, I fixed computers. So I mean, I built computers from scratch. So I know how to fix modems and I know how to install operating systems and stuff like that. So it used to be people that would ask me all the time, but I actually like doing that kind of stuff. A lot of software developers don't do that. Like, they're not the same thing. But for me, I do know how to do that stuff. I don't know. Yeah. Doc says, I think it's crazy and a bit scary you can execute arbitrary code just using the string constructor. Yeah. So, yeah, because we're talking about this. But the thing, like, ultimately, it's the fact that the function... function object, or the function constructor, accepts a string and evaluates that. That's why you really shouldn't use that anywhere in your code, because it's an entry point for like code injection. It's very similar to like eval, which will take a string and actually execute the JavaScript under it. If you do new function and pass in a string, it's basically doing exactly the same thing. So most code reviews would say, hey, don't use eval, don't use the new function constructor. But yeah, big int. And thanks for the follow, John123276. Welcome. Ben says, in PHP we have something equals null. If something equals null, then something, otherwise null. Yeah, so this is ternary. This almost looks like the what's it called? There's the question mark operator. It's like a stage 2 or a stage 3 proposal. Null-ish it's stage 3. TC 39 proposals. Null coalescing operators. I'm not sure. Let's see. Function, realms, temporal. Is it already stage 4? Finish. Let's see, finish proposals. I forget, what is it called? You can do it in any C sharpers in the chat. You can do it in C sharp, I'm pretty sure. Where you have, like, let's say, optional chaining. There it is, a fetish lace. Thank you. Yeah, here it is. No. Oh, yeah, so it's actually, it finished this month. Wow, so it's in stage 4. That's awesome. Let's take a quick stretch. It's already in Babel. Yeah, I did a live stream like a year ago where I tried to, well, I ended up getting it working, but I basically set up Babel with the plugin to be able to use optional chaining in an app. Actually, it was this one, the emoji writer. So this is a website where you can start typing, and it will turn your words into emojis if it can find an emoji. Happy, sad, sad, sad. Happy, happy. Hand? Wow. Oh. But in this app, I made it a challenge that I had to use optional chaining somewhere, and then I like built this app with it. But yeah, it's definitely in Babel. Where were we? Let's find it. Yeah, optional chaining. So usually in JavaScript you have to do something like this. You might say, let's say you want to get the street property of the address object, but address might be undefined or null. So typically you have to say something like, if user.address is a thing, then grab the street property from it. Or you could use like a ternary. So user.address question mark user.address.street colon null or something like that. With the optional chaining, you can do something like this. So yeah, like this. So basically this question mark says, if address is not null or undefined, access the street property. Otherwise, this whole expression evaluates to undefined, which is pretty sweet. So basically your code goes from this, or like a ternary version of that, into just this with the question mark. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, I'll link it. And here are the rest of the proposals if you want to look at these as well. So if you're new to the JavaScript world, or ECMAScript, basically what happens is all the browser vendors start to implement various new features in JavaScript. And things start off as stage 0 whenever they are just these are basically just an idea, and they haven't been presented or rejected, but people just have these ideas for new features in JavaScript. So that's stage 0. Stage 1 represent problems that the committee is interested in spending time exploring solutions to. Yeah, so in stage 1, people are actually talking about and thinking about how could we implement this if we were to add these things into ECMAScript. And then stage 2 is at least one or more of the major browser vendors have actually added this feature into their browser. Like some of these things might actually be in Chrome or might actually be in Firefox, but they don't have widespread support. And then eventually, when they make it to stage 3, they have a bit wider spread support. And then when they make it to stage 4, they will be in the next release of ECMAScript, which is pretty cool. So check those out. Hello, John. What's a modem? It's a little box where it basically converts your internet signal into something that your router can understand, which then turns it into a signal that your computers and devices can understand. Hello, Sergio. Welcome. My class thinks I'm a hacker. Am I buying a Cybertruck? No. I have a car that's paid for, and I'm going to drive that thing till it does not drive anymore. Sam is asking, how would you make a temporary link to sell digital products? I have no idea. Literally no idea. I've never really built any sort of like e-commerce or anything like that. All software developers are hackers. It's true. Like, if you build things, you got, like, you know how certain things are built. And that's kind of the hacker mindset, is you kind of reverse engineer things. Even if it's not like real reverse engineering, you still are imagining how something could be implemented so that you can't exploit it. Yeah, we're all hackers. Yeah, I believe if you use backticks, you should be able to format your code. Oh, well, there's that hacking too, but yeah, MIT style hacking, definitely. Can I sleep? Yeah, go for it. You're not obligated to stay here, Arsalan, but feel free. The null, I haven't seen the nullish operator. That's cool. Yeah. Optional chaining is live in Create React app. Well, that's good to know. Wow. Wow. Triple ticks. Let me try to do it. Oh, Twitch won't let me do it. Oh. They're still there, it just doesn't show it. There you go. Yeah, so that should work, though it doesn't, Twitch chat doesn't keep like new line characters and stuff like that, so it'll be tricky. Lodash has a function called hasin, does the same thing. I can see it, yeah. It's nice to have it like natively supported by the language though, instead of like having to use a function, but yeah. Oh, you know what you could also do, what should work, is wrap it in a code tag. Or actually do it in a pre-tag. If you do a pre-tag like this, I have a markdown renderer, which will do it. Cool. Interesting. Is this the same person that asked about compare to on YouTube? Cool. I'm in the CG server? What? Did I get hacked? What's going on? Yeah. Oh, hello, Shaggy. What's up? John, 123. Tail call optimization would happen. Recursive functions get compiled to loops, no more out of stack space. Wow. I thought that happened in ES6. I'm pretty sure that happened in ES6. Yeah. Eddie's asking, what's the oldest browser you have to support normally? IE 11? It varies by client. If we're building like a brand new product for a startup or something like that, we just tell them, I mean, and it depends on the product because they could be building something for like the health industry or they could be building something for government. And typically those industries, you have to support older browsers because the majority of people are on those older browsers because of the way their like IT infrastructure works. So it varies. But I have had to support IE 11. A while back, I had to support IE 10. But for the most part, the stuff that I do is mainly greenfield, and I only have to support like Chrome and Firefox. Yeah. So what happens here? Fat Kid for Life. We're just hanging out. Usually I write code, but this is a chill stream, so we're just kind of hanging out. And the code that I'm about to write is I'm going to take this API I built, which talks to the Patreon API. It has all of my patrons in it. And I am going to build like a credits roll like this with all the patron names and their support level so that I can play it like in the middle of a stream or at the end of a stream. Yeah. Yeah. My teacher says, I changed my sleep time to ask questions. Don't do that. But I will try to get to your questions. Please remind me if I don't get to them. But yeah, I'll try to get to them. Sergey is saying you can use TypeScript and go for almost all JavaScript proposals. That's true as well. But at the same time, TypeScript has a proposal. I'm pretty sure it has a proposal process because it is it's a language that is constantly evolving and changing like all the others. I see. Class for compared to. I realize that code's not going to run. I'm just putting it there for safekeeping. Here we go. Let's grab this one. This is I guess I don't want to run the Java code. I will deduce what it's doing and we'll try to convert it into JavaScript. Yeah. Returns -7. Okay. No. I can use my I see. TCO was supposed to happen in 2016, but then Microsoft Edge vetoed it, and now they're using Chromium. Weird. But yeah, I was pretty sure tail call recursion was part of the ES6 feature set. I don't know. Does this work in Chrome? Yeah, not yet. Dean is asking, which framework do you recommend for startups? Speed of delivery is the main requirement. I don't know. It varies. It really varies. Like a lot of startups were using Rails for a while. There's actually a lot of Ruby on Rails jobs in the Denver area because people started companies, built it on Rails, and then they've pretty much been using that ever since. But there's been an influx of like node.js and like JavaScript developers lately. Yeah, I would use, if speed of delivery is something that matters, use something feature filled, like some large framework that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. You lose potentially customizability, but it does a lot for you. So I don't know if Meteor is still a thing. I'm going to recommend like JavaScript stuff because that's mainly where I spend my time. Yeah. Meteor, the fastest way to build JavaScript apps. So Meteor is an isomorphic framework, so you can share a lot of code on the client and the server. It automatically does like server-side rendering. You automatically get like real-time. So that's one thing you could do. I have been using a lot of Feathers.js lately. and you actually can build things fairly fast with Feathers.js, and you still have a lot of control. So if you want control, I would probably choose Feathers. The thing is, it isn't server-side rendered by default. Like by default, it's really just a JSON API, and you still have to build your own client. So you would need to choose like Vue or React or Angular or something like that. Yeah, and I'd probably choose Vue. So if I was building something right now, I would choose Feathers.js for the back end and Vue.js for the front end. That's how I would do it. Yeah, a lot of people are mentioning Nuxt. So Nuxt is server-side rendered React. Oh, sorry. Server-side rendered Vue. And you can build apps fairly quickly with it. There's also Next, which is server-side rendered React. Ben is suggesting Laravel. I don't know. Honestly, I just threw a bunch of stuff at you. It varies. So, like, I mentioned that we build things for startups, but usually we won't accept clients that like want something right now. Like we develop relationships, and we have like a full product development team that will like validate the startup's mission, help them come up with like a really good story for the application that we're building. And like we don't build things fast. Like we take our time and build good products. So sorry that I don't have a good suggestion for that, but we just threw out a bunch of stuff that you can look into. Dear Santa, can I please have optional chaining in Node.js for Christmas? Sponge. Yeah, hello, Nichi. Yeah, I've got all the APIs. So like this chat manager you're looking at is talking to the YouTube and Twitch APIs. The overlay we have here is using the same backend that the chat is working on. And then this is talking to the Patreon API to get all of my patrons. And I swear we're going to build something with it. I've been talking for an hour, but we're going to write some code. Support IE6. No. This will work in Chrome in 2 months. Chrome version 80. Oh, cool. The null coalescing operator. That's awesome. I sure wish the Elvis operator would show up in JS stable. I've never heard of the Elvis operator. Was this like an autocorrect thing? Oh. Is it? Let's see. I don't mind the drop bots. Eventually I'm going to I might not disable it. This is a chill stream. Like nobody's going to use this code that I write anyways, probably. In certain computer programming languages, the Elvis operator, often written as that or that, is a binary operator that returns its first operand if that operand evaluates to a true value and otherwise evaluates and returns its second operand. Oh, well, in JavaScript, you can do the OR operator. Yeah, that works in JavaScript, I'm pretty sure. Like, I do it all the time. The safe navigation operator. Interesting. Oh, yeah, I didn't know it got removed. That's crazy. Thanks for the follow, Gamer Cat Nico. Welcome. Hello. Friendly reminder, 55 minutes of streaming, no single line of code. You know what? I should have an overlay that says, like, we are not coding right now, and then I'll flip it to coding when we actually start coding. But I'm about to start coding. I keep saying that. I'm going to write code. There has been several lines of code, just none of them for the Patreon API. It's true. We were looking at some interesting things that people mentioned. Wait, did I lose the... I think I lost the terminal. Yeah, we're looking at just like things people mentioned, like that. And that. And like that. Like, why does that work? we're writing some code. Yeah, I have and hello Ronald. I have one video about like intro to GraphQL. It would be nice to do. I don't know when, but it would be nice to do. Yeah. Yeah, what is this called? Question mark dot? Oh, the safe navigation operator. Okay. Let's look it up. Oh, optional chaining. I see. That so we were talking about that earlier. This thing, which is cool, and it's a stage 4 proposal. So, we saw that TC 39 proposals. We saw that optional chaining is stage 4, and it happened this month, December, which means that it's going to make it into ES 2020, which I think gets released in June or July. But it might, or will definitely make it to like Chrome before then. The Alt F4 stream with the raid. Thanks so much. Welcome everyone. Does my channel play ads? Are you seeing an ad right now? What's up everyone? Let me know if there's an ad. If not, say hi. What's up? So, we have written very little code. We're about an hour in. So no, okay. Yeah, but welcome to the Coding Garden with CJ. So on this show, I write code. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/codinggarden with CJ. And tonight, I'm going to attempt to build something with my patron data. So earlier, I built an API that talks to the Patreon API and lists out all of my patrons. I didn't want to build it on stream because there's like sensitive info in there, like people's email addresses. And I also don't know if all of my patrons want to be known, so I'm only including their first name, not their last name. So I built this API, and pretty soon, I keep saying we're going to start coding, but we're going to start coding soon. I'm going to build something with this information to showcase my patrons on my stream. So something like a credits roll with all the names, or like a marquee at the bottom. We're going to figure it out. But welcome, everyone. Yeah, we rated the Alt F4 stream like a couple of months ago. It's a pretty cool stream. What were you working on tonight, if you're still here? Cool. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. And people were talking about just like random stuff. This also is just a chill stream. So someone had mentioned the optional chaining operator, which is a finished proposal for ECMAScript. And we can see it on here. Optional chaining. And it was added this month, December, which means it's going to be in the next release of ECMAScript. And if you're not familiar with optional chaining, it's pretty sweet. You can turn code that looks like this in JavaScript into code that looks like this. So user.address, question mark. So if address is not null or undefined, then access the street property. Otherwise, this whole expression evaluates to undefined. So it's pretty sweet. It's a stage 4 proposal, which means it's going to be in ECMAScript on the next release of ECMAScript. And it might be in Chrome pretty soon. It says stage 3. I think it's stage 4 because it's under completed. Yeah. Where are you from? I live in Denver, Colorado. I'm in the mountain time zone. Yeah, I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So yeah, the red chats are coming from the YouTubes. And thanks for the follow, Carnival Tears. Welcome. Yeah, it's Saturday night. Let's just chill a while. Little box coding green or not. What? What's happening there? Start coding or I'll cry. I have 21 messages to get through. And then I'll start coding. Thanks for the love, Mr. Moonslam. Welcome. Yeah. And thanks for the follow, Mr. Moonslam. And thanks for the raid. The Alt F4 stream. Raid. Welcome. Imagine a world with one programming language. That would be a really lame world. The thing about programming languages is each one potentially makes you think about problems in a different way or solve problems in a different way. And some programming languages are better for certain problems. So a world with one programming language would be a very boring world. Hello, John D. Welcome. Yeah, there we go. Shaggy with the marquee. Maybe marquee. Don't code. I like talking. That's fun. Working on our open source cloud platform written in Go. Cool. When we tuned in last, I guess some of it was written in JavaScript. Are you porting everything to Go, or is that like a separate platform? Well, that's pretty sweet. Yeah. Just chill. No code. Just chill. I might do another gaming night tomorrow, but I'm working on some music. Actually, quick detour. I want to show you something that I'm working on. Right back. Sorry. quick detour. A CJ exclusive, yeah. DJ CJ. No, it's nothing like that. Wait. Yeah, here we are. Nope. Okay. Here we go. Wait. I think it was playing. My headphones aren't plugged in. Oh, there I am. Okay. Here we go. Try that again. Wait, is it playing? Oh no, I need to change my output settings. Output. Ableton no make the music. What's happening? So that's there. Oh, the gain's all the way down. Let's try this. That's it. This is the part. This could just play over and over again. So, if you haven't heard the well, I guess it's been about 2 years now. There's the lo-fi hip hop craze where you there's all those like live stream channels with on YouTube with like lo-fi hip hop music. But right now, if you search for it, search for lo-fi hip hop Christmas. It's like super chill Christmas music. And I've always said I wanted to make a Christmas album. So I'm going to make a lo-fi hip hop Christmas album. That's the plan. That is not me playing the piano or keyboard. So let's take a detour. This is fun. This is a chill stream. So if you're not familiar with a software like Ableton, basically what it allows you to do, here, let's make a song. This is fun. It's not coding, but it's fun. So basically what you can do is you have instruments. So let's add a drum. We'll do like a basic, like real sounding drum, so percussion dry. And in a piece of software like this, you have this sequencer where you can say when a note should hit, like based on the time. So if we want like a bass drum, oh, I turned it all the way down. Oh, it's not plugged in. We'll figure this out. Okay. There you go. You heard that. Okay, so the bass is going to hit on the first. The snare is going to hit on the second. Bass on the first. Snare on the second. So we have just made a drum track that goes like this. Great. Then we can add instruments, and they have a very similar layout like this. So we can add, let's just do like a, I don't know, like some weird bass. I am not a producer. I just dabble in something like this. Yeah, let's do this. All right, we're gonna have this bass, and so you have this piano roll. So we can say like play a C, and play it long. So, and you can also like actually play on the keyboard. So let me see. Okay. There we go. All right, we're gonna record. Here we go. So I played those notes, and you can see that they showed up on this piano roll here. And now we can adjust the notes. Like, I made some mistakes. First thing we can do is like quantize it, so it actually like puts everything on the beat, because when I played it, it was a little bit off. And now we can play it back and like adjust it. So. And so that should be like a higher note. Like, ba ba ba. Okay, so we'll play right there. And then this note was off. It should probably have been that one. So like that. And now it's on a loop. And I'm at with the 149 super chat. Thank you so much. Okay, I digress. But so you don't even have to know how to play the piano to make music in this thing, because you basically just put your notes on here. You can time them better than normal. And then the other interesting thing is, if you've ever heard of MIDI, and if you remember back in the days of the internet before MP3s were a thing, there were like MIDI files everywhere. So let's find like Jingle Bells MIDI. Someone has basically created like a MIDI file that has all the piano notes for Jingle Bells. Let's see if we can find it. MIDI? Download the MIDI file? CJ's music production time. And then now we can bring that MIDI in and put it on top of an instrument, and it'll just play Jingle Bells. I don't even have to know how to play the piano. Yeah, and there's the web MIDI API, so you can actually interpret MIDI signals. So you know, like the USB piano keyboards that people have, you can plug those into a computer and interpret the signals inside of a web browser, which is pretty sweet. So let me grab that MIDI file. We're gonna drop Jingle Bells. Oh, it has multiple parts too. Look at that. So it has violin, violoncello. Oh, I think they're grouped somehow. There we go. Ableton's messing up. Ableton has frozen. Oh well, but basically this MIDI file, just like I showed you all of those notes, these are the notes to Jingle Bells, and this is like Jingle Bells being played in this MIDI file. I could put that on here. I could choose like a grand piano virtual instrument. I don't even have to know how to play the piano. That was the point of all that. What's happening? Why is this frozen? Okay, it's back. Let's do this. And then we'll grab that very simple drum track that we made. We could make a better drum track, but we could grab that, throw it right here, and then just repeat it over and over, and it will play to the beat of Jingle Bells. We might have to adjust the tempo. That's not bad. So yeah, now that we have this MIDI track, we can adjust the notes, we can do all that good stuff. So yeah, this is fun. It's basically just software. You learn how to use a piece of software. You don't have to know anything about music. There's that. Okay. We should write some code. I'll catch up on the chat, and then we're gonna write some code, because we need to write code. Optional chaining is already in TypeScript. Could actually listen to that. See? And that's copyright strike incoming. No, that's the thing. Like, I shouldn't. I mean, Can you copyright a sequence of notes? I don't know. Yeah, you probably can. Yeah, you probably can. But the auto copyright bots are not going to pick that up. Yeah. But what I didn't show you in Ableton is there are much better digital instruments. Like you can actually have instruments that sound like a grand piano or sound like a cello or different things like that. It doesn't have to sound like all MIDI-like. I'm getting good is asking, is getting burnt out from coding a sign that it's not the right path for me? No. Everybody gets burnt out. I get burnt out. You just need to take time for yourself, especially if, like, even if you're burnt out, but you still think like, hey, I want to code, I want to get good at this. Take a break. You really just take a break, because everyone gets burnt out, whether or not they should be coding or not. So take a break. That's my suggestion to you. And especially if you're having this thought, like, is it a sign that it's not the right path? That kind of means that you maybe want it to be the right path, which means you have desire for it, so you should pursue it. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Deafu Sol. Welcome. The live is yours, so we can code in chat, and it'll be in the message, there. Yep. So, I do have some sanitization that's happening. And I realized this message was from 11 minutes ago, but I'm going to catch up. But the code gets sanitized, and certain things will render. You can't use style attributes. You can't use script attributes, but some stuff will render. So, yeah. Yeah, so, like, yeah, this person tried to do a script. That won't work. The sanitizer pulls that out. See you later, GamerCat and Echo. Thanks for tuning in. A CJ exclusive, yeah. Yep, so the style attributes get pulled out. I had those on initially. If you go back to some of my older, like I built this thing on stream, and I got cross-site scripted, and people started messing with me, like creating like an absolutely positioned div that covered the whole screen. So we fixed a lot of that stuff. Oh, hello, Aravind. The balloons are the drop game. So on the YouTube chat, if you type or in Twitch chat, if you type drop me, it will drop your avatar, like so. If you just type drop, it'll drop a little seed. The goal is to land on the target right here. And if you land on the target, oh wow, how did I not make it on the leaderboard? Well, we have a lot of people really high on the leaderboard right now, but if you make it here, you grow a nice little seedling. You can also do drop with an emoji, and that'll drop the emoji instead. And on Twitch, you can drop with emotes or emojis. So yeah. Vote for CJ Tomorrowland. No way. Yeah. Talking with CJ is more fun than what I appreciate. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I fixed the sound. And thanks for the follow, Mandaputra. Welcome. Yeah, so I have like a mix of markdown parsing with like markdown rendering and HTML sanitization. So if you and basically it I have an emote parser and it inserts it as markdown, but then that got combined with your HTML, so it just rendered that instead of the actual emote. But yeah, so that's not me on the piano. I think that was like a sideways comment, Boyan. It said stick to programming. Why is my video blocked in the US? Let's see. It could. I have 1 or 2 videos with a copyright strike, and it could be that. No! Come on, Majestic Eye. Where's our last days since last Rickroll counter? Because I just got. Man. that was a good one. The thing is, my chat manager, I also I detect the Rickroll link that has like the most views on YouTube. So this one apparently is not the main Rickroll video. Yeah, we can see cute little puppy doing cute things. And my chat manager doesn't detect this URL. Yeah, because it tries to strip out the real one. Got me. Yeah, no scripts allowed. Wow. Yeah, I started with FL Studio like a long time ago, and then I've been using Ableton ever since. School of CJ. Cool. So, I don't. Yeah, I kind of mentioned it, but I want to make a Christmas album. I've always talked about making a Christmas album, and I want to make one. And my friend has a saxophone that she's gonna let me use, and I played saxophone back in high school, so there's gonna be saxophone on it. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna drop a Christmas album like within a week or two. 0 out of 10. Thanks, Boyan. much appreciated. I'm about to start writing code. I'm telling you. I guess I could. Yeah, they might. I don't know. I'm about to start writing code. And thanks again for the super chat, Amato. Much appreciated. Can we do this in JavaScript? I've thought about it. Yeah, like people have created MIDI sequencers in the browser because you have the web audio API, you have the web MIDI API. Yeah, you can do it with JavaScript for sure. Let's hear what console log sounds like. Yeah. Sounds good. Well, thank you. A program similar to this is what we used for my high school music qualification. We had to make a 3-minute long track. Cool. Definitely. Ed wants a beard like mine. Yeah, I have a profanity filter. Yeah, I'll get Taylor Swift to feature on my Christmas album. No sweat. Thanks, Speed. True. We could make a Christmas game. Anybody have ideas for like a Christmas themed overlay game or something like that? I did say like it was only 20 minutes ago that I said I was about to start coding. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, Dead is saying I had panic attacks at my old job from burnout, but it can happen to anyone. And if you feel yourself like feeling like you want to quit your job or feeling like you don't have motivation to do your job anymore, like you need to take a break. Just talk to your manager, take a week vacation or like half a week, maybe take like a 5-day weekend or something, but you need a break. You need a break. Is totally, like, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to go to it. We're going to search for it and see what we get. Oh, Lo-Fi Christmas Mix. Yeah. I don't want to play that because I could possibly get a copyright strike for it. Yeah. Ooh. No style tags. Yeah. So any attributes that could potentially run JavaScript get stripped out as well. Yeah. You got me. You got me. I only have one screen. So the screen that's over here is a separate computer. Oh no. Man. It's a separate computer. And as you can see, I'm using the share mouse program. And I need to restart it. Give me a second. Okay. That'll get going. We're almost up on chat messages. And then we'll write some code. I promise. I promise. We will write at least one code before the stream is over. People rickrolling me. It's not nice. Thanks, Mr. Moonslam. Thanks for hanging out. The world needs a Thanksgiving album. My local radio station made the first one, and it was amazing. What music is Thanksgiving music? That's interesting. Andrew Lane with a 99.93 over here. Over here. Great work. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Scribbletune, Node.js module to create midis. Yeah, so there's all kinds of cool stuff on npm and in general for making music with JavaScript. I should do something like that because I'm a fairly musical person and a programmer. How do you separate an admin server from your main app server? Do I? Oh, and how do you do that? It depends. I mean, at the end of the day, your admin server shouldn't be just only locked down in that it's separate from your regular server. It should still have the right permissions, locking down all the rights and everything like that. But it is an extra security precaution to deploy them to two separate servers, so that way if your app server is compromised, they don't necessarily have access to your admin server, which in turn might give them access to your admin database. So it depends on the application that I'm building, and it really comes down to like your security model. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the way of doing it is literally deploying them to two totally separate servers. You have two different API endpoints, and you might even have two different front-end applications that talk to those backends. But yeah. A Christmas game to grow up and decorate a Christmas tree. Yeah, we had talked about that before. Majestic Eye coming in hot. But basically, instead of growing little seedlings, we would have a Christmas tree, and you could drop and potentially like hang an emoji or an emote off of the tree. That would be fun. Aravine is saying, I want more deep HTTP understanding. Can you make another live? I would like to, yeah. So I did a live stream not too long ago, and I also I uploaded an edited video where I talked about the basics of HTTP. Yeah, intro to HTTP, which is really how the web works. The basics of that. There's a lot more to it, but that lesson has a lot of what you would need to know to start building web applications and know what's happening behind the scenes. Carlos is asking if I would recommend my chair. This is a very old IKEA chair that I got from work. They don't sell this color anymore. And I really only sit in this chair for streams. I have like a gaming chair upstairs, and I usually stand at work. I don't have any chair recommendations. Let's say that. Turkish music is Thanksgiving music. That's interesting. Spotify Wrapped 2019? I don't know what that is. Yeah. Andrew has a bot. And I thought Majestic Eye started up a drop bot too. All right. I think people have stopped sending messages because they know. Or they want me to start coding. They want me to start coding, and I will. Right now. So, as I mentioned, we have this API that I built, which is all of my patrons. It has their name, how much they've pledged, and then the reward ID, and then down at the bottom we have the names of the different rewards. So what I'm going to do right now is just build a super basic website that calls this API to get this data, and then does like a credits roll like you would see at the end of a movie, where it just says like the patron's name, their pledge amount, and how long they've been a patron. And it'll just scroll, all the names will come across the screen, and that's what we're going to build. It'll be super basic. So I have this client folder. Let's create an index.html. I think I'm just going to use vanilla JavaScript. We could use like Parcel or something like that. No, we're going to use vanilla, and we're going to try to use like common JS imports and exports and stuff like that. Cool. So let's grab some styles, and then we'll have a script type module, and the source will be, we'll have like a source directory with app.js inside of it. Actually, let's have an app directory with index.js inside of it. So let's create these files. We'll create a folder called app. Inside of it, we'll create index.js. Let's just log hello world. And then we need some styles. So we'll just put that at the root. Let's just say the body has margin 0, padding 0. And we'll just throw in like an h1 that says, thank you to all of the following people that support me on Patreon. Like that. All right. We're just going to start up light server, which is an auto-refreshing dev server. It's just a static file server. There we go. We got a title. What I'm thinking is we're going to put all of this information in one div, and we'll start that div at like a -x and then like transform it to like scroll up. So let's just have a div here and call it like credits. Yeah, we'll give it a class. Like that. And Josh is saying box sizing, border box. Let's do it. And for now, let's just give the font family of sans serif. We can hop over to Google Fonts and get like a decent font in a second. Let's say that the credits section has a text align of center. And that should do something like that. Cool. Let's also give it a width and a automatic margin. So let's say width is like 50 view width. So it should be like half the screen, and then margin 0 auto. So it should be half the screen and in the center of the screen, like that. Cool. Now let's hit the API with JavaScript and add all of the people's names and support level and the date to the page. So in the HTML, let's add, I guess we'll just have a div, call it patrons. And that's where we're going to append each of the patrons. What are my terminal configs? If you do !files, you'll see my bash profile. Maybe that's what you're talking about. If you do !VS code, you should see my VS Code settings. Let me know if you have any specific questions. Cool. So in the JavaScript, let's create a function. It's called getPatrons. We're just going to do a fetch. And we'll throw the API URL in a variable. That's just going to be that. We'll make this an async function. We'll grab the, let's call it the data. And this is just going to parse the response as JSON. And then we should have it. So let's do that. I don't have any rate limits, but I will soon do some caching. So basically every time you hit this endpoint, it has to talk to the Patreon API. But what I should do is cache the data and only talk to the Patreon API like once every hour, once every 30 minutes. Then rate limiting doesn't matter because this is a serverless function deployed to now. So cool. So if we look at the, we need to invoke the function. So when the page loads, we'll call getPatrons. And we should get the data back. Oh no! Pretty sure I had cores on this thing. Do I not have cores? Oh, well. I need to add cores, so I'll do that. Let me catch up on the chat. And then I need, and this is a great lesson for anyone that has ever gotten the, what do you call it? The dreaded cores error in the console. access to fetch from origin has been blocked. No access control allow origin header is present on the requested resource. So I built this API server, and I did not add the access control allow origin header to the outgoing response. So the browser won't let me make the request to it because the origin that this page is running on is localhost 3002. And if we look at it, yeah, there is no course header there. So I need to add course. So we'll do that in a second. Yeah, I'm not sure, Meeper. People have asked about it before, but yeah, I don't really know. Is this really a wireframe? No. That is that Rickroll thing, isn't it? Yeah, the drop game is open source. You can check it out on Coding Garden /seedling drop on GitHub. The only thing about the drop game is it uses my custom chat server. So because I'm pulling in chat messages from both YouTube and Twitch, to get this running locally, you actually need to run the chat server also. However, you could modify the code to just use like TMI.js directly and just talk to Twitch chat. But yeah, it's open source. You can look at it here. Oops, what was that? Oh, that was a Q&A site. Is Ed on the target? And thanks for the follow, SparkMod. Welcome. Jacochi says, thanks to you, I started Vue and I like it so much. That's great. Vue is awesome. Hello, Guru. We're gonna make a credits roll for all of my patrons. So at some point in my streams, I can acknowledge all of the people that have pledged on Patreon. If this is vanilla JavaScript, is Angular Rocky Road JavaScript? Yeah, why not? Why not? Speed is saying, I'm using Oh My Zish with Dracula and Spaceship, but your terminal is cool too. Yeah, so my terminal is a combination of my bash profile, but also I'm using iterm. And you can look at my profiles here, and I just have like a color theme set here as well. So foreground, lime green, background black. And then in my bash file, there's a few settings for colors when doing various types of output. So yeah, cores. I'm not going to use cores anywhere. I control. So we can mention it. So we can mention that if you don't control the API, cores anywhere is an option. But I control the API, so I'm just going to add the access control allow origin header. I'll be expecting my Coding Garden sticker soon. Why is that? Because you're on the leaderboard? Are you a patron? I'm actually going to be sending stickers to all of my patrons very soon. I need to do it like tomorrow. Hey, no Rick rolls here. Because they should make it to all the patrons before Christmas. So do that. I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's grab that idea. Edwin is saying, do the reset for box sizing on everything. That makes sense. So if you're not familiar with box sizing border box, it makes positioning and sizing things a lot more intuitive because usually I think box sizing border box makes it so that the border is included in the width of the element, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like that, and it makes your styles more consistent. Hello, Tati. Welcome. Hello, Cheyenne. Margin 0 and padding on everything. Yeah, this is basically like a CSS reset. So this removes all of the default styling of all the elements, like the default styles from the browser, so that you can style them yourself. Because if you notice, yeah, now the H1 is all the way at the top because we removed the margin and the default margin and padding from everything. I'm okay with the default margin and padding. That's fine. Oh, and Josh has his own cores anywhere. I'm just gonna add cores to the backend. Hello, SparkMod. I like the sound of the keyboard coding master sensei. Thank you. Do I know any free hosting? What is AV? But now.sh is essentially free hosting for like all open source projects, and then it's super cheap. It's basically only serverless functions, but for the most part, most apps can work this way. Heroku also has a free tier. You can check those out. Thanks for the follow, Tangentin. Welcome. What are my opinions on the MSI Prestige? More programming and slight video image editing stuff. I have no opinions. I've mentioned it before, but this is like a 2015 MacBook. And I like it a lot. Hey, doggy. That's funny. View or React? View. Always View. I use React on a daily basis because of my job, but I like Vue a lot more. Take a look at the old Star Wars opening credit. I don't want it to skew. I definitely want it to be readable and flat. But that we could do like a slight translate Y. That would it would be as dramatic as the Star Wars, but I think we can make that happen. Hello, Ayushuman. But yeah, glitch is another thing. So glitch is kind of like CodePen, but it lets you make backend applications. And you can deploy with it as well. Yeah, check that out. Yep, that works. Oh, I said anyone who Rickrolled me got a sticker. Okay, if you DM me your address, I'll send you some stickers. I totally forgot I said that. Did I say that? I don't know. DM me on Discord. Hello, Jorge. Welcome. Yeah, this is funny. Does he eventually start biting? Let's just watch this GIF. Take a quick break. Mr. Moonslam, I do not have a stream schedule. For sure, Wednesdays at 8:20 p.m. Mountain Time, I stream Code Katas. That's for sure when you know I'm going to be streaming. Other than that, it's kind of sporadic. I hope to have a stream schedule soon, but I've been saying that for months. I have a full-time job, so it's hard. But if you tune in Wednesday, 8:20 p.m., you should be able to find me. Yeah. But also, if you follow me on Twitter, I tweet every time I go live. I don't know if you're a big Twitter user, but twitter.com/coding_garden. But have a wonderful evening. Thanks for stopping by. I think we missed the GIF. I want to see it biting. Yeah, glitch is interesting. Patreon names on leaves falling from a tree. This is a wonderful idea. I don't think we'll implement it today because we've just done a whole lot of talking and I need to actually get something done. But I like that. Because it could be like a short break we take, or it could even be like on the like my break screen. Like when we're on a break, the leaves slowly fall and they have patron names on them. I love it. It's a great idea. And we'll rickroll you just for the sticker. And thank you for the follow. Ricky is here. Welcome. For those, do not buy a gaming laptop if you just want to do coding. You'll end up hating it for the loud fan and short battery life. Get a Mac. I mean, they cost about the same nowadays. Like if you get like a really high-end gaming laptop, yeah, I like I said, I can't really recommend anything. I used to stream on a Razer Blade Pro. This is like a 2016 or 2017, and it's not the 16-inch. Yeah, that's like way too big. But this thing is like the MacBook of Windows computers. And I got it because like it's one of the like thinnest, sleekest MacBooks on the market that has a dedicated graphics card. And so I used to use this as my streaming computer because I actually have my MacBook HDMI out into a capture card that's on my streaming computer. Now I use a desktop streaming computer, but I used to use this, and it's pretty sweet. Hello, Firdaus from Malaysia. Welcome. I honestly don't mind because I have some extra sticker packs. So if you do want them, just let me know. I think you have your markdown in reverse, but that has a really weird name. I don't know if you should share that, Boyan. Yeah, Casual Gameplay has a MacBook Pro 2014. So, can you name one stream with Blade? Oh, like when I was using my Razer Blade? Anything before Christmas last year, because Christmas last year is when I got my my dedicated gaming PC. Since it's a JavaScript stream, what if you directly show and animate the API JSON input? Like instead of adding elements to the page, it's literally like a pre-tag with all of the JSON inside of it. We could like stylize it to make it look like code. If that is that what you mean, Doc? The free debugs link is safe. Okay. Stay hydrated. Is that what it is? Dogs are basically just tiny humans. Like they behave exactly the same way. They have the same needs. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Speed. Jorge is saying for deep learning, a MacBook with a decent GPU is way too expensive. So the game, yeah, it's true. I don't know. No. I just replaced my 2015 MacBook Air with a new MacBook Air due to loud fans and the battery whilst coding, but I could never switch at this point. Yeah. Okay. So here's what we need to do. I'm going to hide my screen for a second just so I don't expose any API keys or any potential user information. And I need to redeploy that API I built, but I need to install the cores module. So let's take a look at it. Cool. So this is a quick tutorial on how to fix this cores error that you might be getting in the browser. Where are we? Here. So right now I'm trying to make a request to this API, and I'm getting this error that there is no access control allow origin header in the resource. Yeah, I'm not gonna expose it. I'm gonna do everything I can to not expose the API key. So I'm getting this error right now, and because I'm in control of the API, so I built this API, that means that I can add this access control allow origin header to the outgoing response. Now to do that, I'm just going to use a package. So I'm going to install a package called cores. This is an express middleware that automatically adds that header. And that's true, yeah. So Josh is saying I could also manually add that endpoint. The one thing to think about, though, is typically the browser will send options requests. So if you don't have an options request in your route, so we can see in my route here that it's just a GET request, it might not work. So what I could do, let's just create a middleware function. We're going to do this. We're going to say app.use rec res and next. So a middleware function is a function in your Express application that has access to every single request. And what we can do is we can set that access control allow origin header to be, we could set it to one origin, or we can set it to star, which means anyone's allowed to make a request to this origin. So we can, believe we can say rec.set. No, res. Because we want to set a response, set a header on the response. So res.set. Let's go to the Express docs. So we want to look at the API reference. We want to look at the response. Res.header. Thank you, Andrew Lane. Or is it? No, it is res.set. Yeah. Set the response's HTTP header filled to a value. So the thing that we need to set is access control allow origin, and we need, I'm going to set it to star. I mean, technically, I could set it to localhost 3002. Actually, let's look at the error. That's what I'm gonna do, because that will actually restrict it a little bit more. So access to fetch at here from origin here. So this origin is the origin that we're making the request from. So on my backend, if I set access control out origin to that origin, then that means this front end application that I'm building will be allowed to make the request to that backend. Now, any other client that's running in a web browser is going to get the CORS error, because now this header is set to this and not that origin. Cool. So that does it. There are a few other headers we need to set. I think it's like access control allow headers. We'll look into it. Because it's not just that one header, which is why it's nice to use that CORS package, because it does all of this for you, but I'm just showing you how it works. Yeah, so access control allow methods and access control allow headers. So methods, and really the only method that I'm going to allow is get, because I don't have any post routes. And what are the headers that I need to add? I need to look these up, because there's basically a set of headers that that you need to set to make all of this work. So the access control allow origin response header indicates whether the response can be shared with the requesting code from its given origin. So this code right here is running on the origin localhost 3002. And so the header that comes back from the server needs to have that set. Oh, which headers are allowed? Okay, we're just gonna go with what Doc is telling us, but you could definitely find this information on Google as well. I just happen to have some very clever and smart people watching me stream, so we're gonna go with this. But basically what this header says is the incoming requests are allowed to have these headers. So origin, X requested with, content type, and authorization. So this is setting, we're allowed to do the get method. Typically, you would want to add post in there as well. I think they're comma separated. Like I said, we can look this up, but this should work. So you say what methods you're going to allow. I'm just going to allow get, because that's the only method that I have, and I'm going to directly set the origin to be 3002. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start this thing up locally. 5000 is in use. Let's use a different port. 9000. Cool. So we're running on localhost 9000. So now in my front end code, I'm going to make the request here instead of the deployed API. And if it works, then I'll deploy this API. So over here, we were making the request to that. So let's do this. Say const API URL equals that / pledges. And if I set all of those headers correctly, this should work. My console is pimped out. Where are we? Here. No, we are here. So if we did it correctly, should work. Ending. Oh, I might have run into an issue on the. Oh, I know what went wrong. So when you create a middleware function, you need to do the thing you're going to do and then allow the rest of the request handlers to continue. So basically what I've done here is when a request comes into this server, it's going to set the response headers, but then it's just going to hang there. So if you look at my my backend code, so the GET request came in and it hasn't finished yet because it's kind of just like hung. So what I need to do, yeah, so Boyan has got it. So I actually need to call next. And what next does is it goes on to the next middleware function or the next request handler. And so by calling next, now all of my other request handlers are going to be allowed to be called. And so that should be good. So should have restarted. Let's try again. Refresh. Console. There they are. So I've set those headers correctly, and we can actually see on the network tab. So if we look at the request that goes to pledges, we can see the response has these headers, right? Access control, allow origin, localhost 3002. That's where we are. It works. We're allowing these headers. We're allowing that method. Cool. So that works wonderfully. And I think I did install the cores module. Not that. Or did I? No, I didn't. But let's install it really quick, because honestly, I'm just going to use it. But it was cool to show what's happening under the hood. So now I have cores, and you've probably, if you've built Express apps, you've probably done this. You've probably done, like, bring in that cores middleware. And then create your Express application, and then use the middleware. So we'll say app.use cores. Alka is no longer on the leaderboard. Yeah, we've got some really high scores tonight. So if I do that, it's essentially the same thing as what I did by hand here. It actually does a lot more, because if it receives an options request, it knows how to respond to that, which is another thing that's involved with cores. There's quite a bit more going on, and it has a lot of options for conditionally setting the origin header. And so typically I'll just use the module. But if you ever wanted to know what's happening under the hood of that middleware, it's pretty much this. It's just setting these headers so that this origin can make the request. Note that by default, it's actually going to set that origin to be star. So now that I've done that, we should see access control allow origin star in the response. And that means any origin is allowed to make the request. And I'm okay with that, because this API isn't sharing anything secret. I've mostly anonymized the pledge data, so I'm okay with any other clients making the request here. So we're using the cores module. Let's start it back up. Cool. And now if we go back to the browser, if we refresh and we see that request for pledges, it comes back, and we can see the response now has access control allow origin star. So that cores middleware is what's doing that for us. Yep, and that's a good point, Edwin. So if someone created their own application that was running locally and it was being served on localhost 3002, then yes, they would actually be able to make the request there. Typically what you want to do is, once you deploy your website, you would want to set that origin on the back end to be the deployed URL of your website. You really don't want it to be localhost. This app, I'm not going to deploy it. This is just going to be like a browser overlay that's running locally. So it's pretty much always going to be running on localhost. I don't always know the port, so for now I'm going to leave it as star. Cool. So that's fine. And so we've updated that. Cool. We added cores. Good enough for me. If you set a conditional allow origin, you need to set vary origin to prevent exploits caused by caching. That makes sense. Okay, so I use now to deploy this thing, so I should be able to now -- prod, which will automatically deploy it and alias it to the domain that I gave it. Cool. So if I go back to my client and I change it back to make the request to my deployed URL, it should work now. Refresh. Yeah, so now the deployed URL is actually setting that origin star, and we're getting back the data. Wonderful. The one thing I'll do is, instead of making the API, I don't know why I'm even doing any of this, but instead of making the API request, for now, while I'm doing all of this testing, I'm just going to copy this data locally so I don't keep hitting the API. So we'll add that. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention Cores Anywhere. So Cores Anywhere is an open source project. They have a deployed server that's basically a proxy server. So if you're not in control of the server that you're making the request to, you can put Cores Anywhere in front of it, and it automatically adds that access control allow origin header to it. But because I was in control of this server, I just added it myself. Okay, so when we're actually making the API request, we're going to do that code. But for now, I'm actually just going to return this object. Like that. And this is an interesting thing. You may not realize this, but if you ever put the word async on a function in JavaScript, it automatically makes it into something that returns a promise. So right here, even though I'm just doing a regular return, down here, it actually is a promise. So I still need to like .then it. Just call this data. And then I can have access to the data. So now, just because we're doing local testing, I'm not calling the API, but I will once we get this thing deployed. Yep. So we .then'd it. We have all our users. Great. And now we need to iterate over them and add them to the page. Let's catch up on the chat. I don't know if there was anything interesting in there. Actually, there were some follows I definitely need to acknowledge. Thanks for the follow, etech300. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mostly read all of the messages, I think. We're at a point where I can't really keep up with the messages over here because I haven't acknowledged them. But see you later, Speed. Thanks for tuning in. Sergio, that package is called import cost. So they were mentioning this. So this shows the size of those imported modules. It's really nice for front-end applications. Like if you're using React and you're importing modules, it will tell you how big those things are. Hello, Ashwin. Not much. Just writing some code. Trying to scam me. That's funny. Do all websites need to have cores enabled to receive requests from any user, like websites with searches? Not websites with searches. So if a website exposes an API that they want any client browser client application to make a request to, then they would need to add some sort of access control allow origin header to it. There are a lot of APIs that don't add that header, and that means that you actually need to call that API from your own backend, and then in turn call that API from your client, so that way you can add the course headers. But not all websites need to add it. It's mainly a restriction for JavaScript making a request to like an API or something like that. Yep, import cost is it. Since you're only using this locally, no point of hardcoding. Honestly, I guess there's no point in me even deploying this API because I'm only using it locally. Though we could find some other uses for it, so yeah. Have the leaves turn from green to red and then fall from the tree. I like that. Though, what does that imply? Does that mean... yeah, I don't know. Cascadia code font family. That would be, yeah. So I was it Doc? Someone mentioned we should make this look like code. We could do that. We could use like a monospace font, and maybe for each user we show like a little JSON object with all of their properties on it. But yeah. Yeah, and Geo is mentioning require cores. So like I said, what I showed is how you would manually do it, but I typically just use the cores module. And Doc is saying it's a matter of controversy whether you should also allow options as well. Yeah. So because I did, in terms of the methods, because I only put get on there, I probably should put options in there. But when you use the cores module, it does that for you. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, and that's one of the reasons I did star, because I don't know if I'm always going to be running on port 3002. Um, Maybe. I actually don't know how they're sorted. It could be that the latest scores show up. So if it's an older score, it doesn't show up. Though it should probably be the reverse. Yeah, you can absolutely add your own domain name to Now. And I didn't buy it on Now. I just set a CNAME record. So I have a CNAME record for patreon.coding.garden. The CNAME points to alias.zeit.co. And then I can use it, and they automatically add the Let's Encrypt certificate to it automatically. It's amazing and easy. Dark theme on Chrome. So actually, I just have a dark theme. That one itself is not an extension, but I'm also using Stylus, which is an extension that allows you to put custom styles on various websites, and I have themes installed for the various websites. I actually don't know of a direct shortcut. But what I'm doing is bring up the command palette. So on Mac, it's Command-Shift-P. I think it's just Control-P on Windows. And then search for ESLint, fix all auto-fixable problems. You could probably map that to just a general shortcut, but typically I do this. Command-Shift-P, ESLint, hit it, and then it automatically changes it. I could technically format it, but I'm okay with it all just being on one line like that, because like I said, it's temporary. Yeah, we'll talk about this async function. So what's actually happening there? And thanks for the follow, Loba Loba. Welcome. Could I please answer a couple of questions on the Q&A? Yes. Let me get the patrons' names on the screen, because I've been streaming for 2 hours and we haven't done that yet. But so let me get them, and then I'll answer some questions. Hello, Steven. Welcome. Thank you, Edwin. Can you display API data based on query string? Yeah. So if you're in control of the API, then yes. So for my API, if you look at my backend code, and it's on GitHub. If you go to my Coding Garden GitHub, it's like my most recently pushed repo, the Patreon Pledges API. So you can see it, and you can see what I'm doing. So in that pledges route, I'm looking for a query string called sort. And if sort is amount, then it'll sort the patrons by their total pledge amount. So if you do that, it sorts it in this order. Otherwise, it's by date, how long they've been a patron. But you can see in the code, it's really just a matter of doing something with that query parameter. So I set that sort to amount, and then down here, I literally just do an array sort, and if the query string was set to amount, then I do something here. I could also add add another query string that's like user properties, and then do a comma separated list of the things I want, like name, email, etc. Of course, I would have to read in those query parameters and then use them somehow in the actual API request or what I'm doing in the code. But yeah, you could absolutely do that. And the Patreon API actually works that way. So you can see in the URL that I'm making the request, I say include patron.null, and that includes all of the nested patron data. So yeah. Oh, thanks, Aravind. It's just me. It's me in my basement. But I've been doing this for close to 2 years now. So I did a stream a while back, but if you go to coding.garden/gear, you can see all of the things that I use to live stream. So I use a blue screen. I have some lights. I actually use a fairly inexpensive HD camcorder. I use capture cards. So these cards are plugged into a dedicated, it's like a high-spec gaming computer that has like a really good graphics card. So these plug in there. I can plug an HDMI cable in them, and it captures the signal. So I'm capturing the signal of the camera right there. I'm capturing the signal of my MacBook. And then I also have an audio interface, which is this thing. And so this can take in like XLR microphones and turn them into USB. And so that's plugged into the computer. And then I have this mixer right here, which allows me to plug multiple microphones into it, and plug my computer audio into it, and I can adjust the levels, but all of that feeds into this USB interface. And then all of it is controlled by OBS, which is Open Broadcast Studio. So it's free software where you can set different scenes and different sources. So it's just me. I don't have a team. If I had a team, it'd probably be higher quality content. I don't know. But yeah, if you go to this URL, you can see all the stuff I use. And if you go to coding.garden/videos, and then maybe search for setting up stream, an overview of equipment and setup. So I did this live stream a while back. This was, over a year ago. But I pretty much walk you through how I use all this equipment and put it together. The only difference is now I am no longer using a using a laptop as my streaming computer. So on here I have this Razer Blade listed. Now I just have a desktop computer that basically all the same stuff plugs into. Because it used to be that my whole stream setup needed to be mobile. And so I would actually have to set up my blue screen and plug everything in every time I wanted to stream. And I did it at the co-working space that I worked at when I was working in New York City. But now I'm at home. I'm in my basement. I've got a computer over there. But yeah, you can watch this video. I'll share the link. I guess I'll link to the gear too. Too many tabs. How long till advent of code? An hour? We might end up doing advent or attempting advent of code. I'll probably try advent of code for like 20 minutes, and then if I'm really spinning my wheels, I'll probably not try to solve it, because yesterday was really hard. Oh yeah, coding.garden/gear. Check it out. And coding.garden/videos. So you can look at all my videos. All the links. Everyone gets links. Free links for everyone. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, another thing that I'm doing is I'm streaming on both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. And for that, I'm just using an open source piece of software called a multi-streamer, and they have it set up for a Docker container. So I have this running on my streaming computer, and that allows me to output my stream to both YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So there's a lot of moving parts, but it's just me in my basement. Yeah. Yeah, so even though you return an object from an async function, it returns a resolved promise. Yeah, so I'll definitely talk about what's happening here when we do it. But yes, anytime you mark a function as async, that just means that function returns a promise. Hello, Alex. How's it going? Let's see what Alka did to their drop game. Not found. Oh wait, did I? Static.alka.tv? No! No! How did you added a redirect at a URL that looks like that? So it's a good thing. Wait. I guess I had YouTube muted, but I think that was the first time that Alka has rickrolled me. So emotes in the chat. I just got rickrolled by Alka. No, nothing interesting happens. You'll just be at the absolute top of the leaderboard. Nathan is asking about linting preferences. I usually always choose the Airbnb config. Yeah, we're like basically all the people in the chat. That's the team that keeps the coding garden going. Super expensive. I'm in the basement of my house. Yeah. And thanks for the Twitch follow, Jane Wayne. Welcome. Hello, Ashish. What's up? No good. Yeah. Everyone type exclamation mark Alka in the chat. We can all see Alka's face. Anything after will Rick direct. Yeah, Alka in the chat. All right, let's talk about why this works this way. So, and actually we'll just return data like so. So, hey Steven. Calm down. So when I have the code this way, it actually makes a fetch request. And fetch is a function that returns a promise, which is why we have to use await. So fetch returns a promise. We wait for that promise to resolve, and that gives us back the response object. The response object has the resulting data inside of it. And so we need to parse it as JSON. And this is a part of the response API built into the browser, the response object, where the JSON method returns a promise, so we have to await it as well. And then lastly, once we have that, we can just return the data. And actually, we could literally just return this. So actually, I'm gonna keep. There's multiple ways to write this, but I would say probably the best way to write this is to not have that second await, because what I'm doing here is waiting for the promise to resolve, storing it in a variable, and then returning that variable. This code should work. So if we refresh the page, we still get the data back, and that in this request we're actually talking to the API. Well, what we can also do, and let's watch what happens here, is we can just return response.json, right? Because response.json is a promise. And the function itself is an async function, which means it's going to return a promise. And part of promises is if one promise resolves to another promise, it waits for that other promise to resolve. So basically, a much shorter and probably better way of writing this code is just to say return response.json. And this should still work in exactly the same way. If we go back to the browser, we get the data from the API. Great. And so what's really happening here is this is a function that returns a promise, and then the async function itself technically also returns a promise. So it's a promise that resolves to a promise, and when that promise resolves, we get the data and we can log it out. But what's interesting about all of this is that if I don't even do any awaits, it still technically works. So if I just return anything from this function, because I have the word async on there, it basically just returns a promise. So I still have to say .then right here to get the actual result. You'll notice if I didn't do .then, and I just tried to invoke the function, if we log the result right here, this result is going to be a promise. We're going to see it in the console. We'll just say promise. Because we actually need to .then it to get the thing out of it. Yeah, so let's just show this. So it's a promise, right? Promise. Cool. But if we remove the async keyword, then this is literally just a plain old function that returns an object, so we actually should get back the object. And we do. So, but I'm going to leave it async. And what's nice about leaving it async is that right now when I'm testing, I'm just using this fake data. I'm not actually hitting the API. But then when I'm ready to actually hit the API, then I can just uncomment this code, and the code below doesn't have to change because it still returns a promise. It's not just returning an object. So. Okay. Yeah, all the Alkas in the chat. Yeah. Hello, Slinus. Pawn? How is that getting? That's a curse word. I'm not your pawn. Okay, it was a 4-letter word. Oh, that's a 5-letter word. Never mind. I thought it was a curse word. Which is better, JSHint or ESLint? In my experience in the JavaScript world, like ESLint is more widespread. I wouldn't call one better than the other. I don't really know. I mean, I mainly use ESLint though. I don't. Maybe pawn is a curse word in. That's so true. But maybe pawn is a curse word in some other English dialect. How about an async function with a generator function with yield? No thanks. That's too complicated. Collaborations are enough. Thanks, Edwin. I'll probably do that. Right now, it's a bit of a security precaution. Because I actually have a blocker in my live chat window where any link that gets clicked will get swallowed. Like I literally block the navigation of the browser window. Yeah. See you later, Ben. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, let's actually add this data to the page. So we have this div with class patrons. Let's get a reference to it in the JavaScript. So let's just say patrons element is going to be document.query selector, the element with the class patrons. So this variable corresponds to this element, and we want to add some stuff to it. So in here, we can iterate over data.users. And actually, let's destructure it, because this actually gives us back users and rewards. And rewards will tell us like wallflower, tractor, avocado, everything's like that. So yeah, these are my reward levels. I have a droplet, which is $1, wallflower, which is $2.55, fertilizer, which is $5, avocado 25, and tractor 100. So the reward object will say the ID of the reward and then the name of the reward. So we can use that in some way. So let's iterate over the users. And basically, we want to create a div for each user and put it right there. I guess we could do like a pre-tag. Let's do this. Someone earlier mentioned that we should format it to look like code. So let's say user element is going to be document.create element. Let's create a pre-tag. And then we'll say user element.text content equals json.stringify user, and then we'll use a two space tab to format it, and then we'll say patrons element.append child user element. And we should get a bunch of JSON objects. Let's look at it. Yeah, look at that. They're all text center. So we can remove that. So let's give that element a class name of like patron. And it's text align center because of my style. So the credits, they're all text align center, but I can say each individual patron has a text align of left. And that should put them over there. Cool. So we have all the patrons as JSON objects. I think I want to stylize it. So I do want to put like the user's name, their patron level, supporting sense, that kind of thing. Yeah. Do I use any plugins in VS Code for auto formatting? Yeah, so I use ESLint and then also Prettier. You can see I have Prettier enabled down here. If you do Command-Shift-P format document, you can set that to use Prettier. And you'll see that it formatted that object. I don't want it to do that. And then I also use ESLint to fix things like missing semicolons and using single quotes instead of double quotes. Like that. Yay! Did Andrew Lane get higher? Or are we saying yay because I actually got the patrons added to the page? Oh, yeah, format on save. Cool. Let's not do this, though. Pre-tag, fun idea, but let's just do a div. So yeah, now we have a div. And then because I'm in control of this API, I'm just gonna set the inner HTML of the div. So let's say user element dot inner HTML. Yay for the thank you Andrew Lane. Yeah, at least Andrew's excited. Steven is asking, you say I dislike TypeScript, wondering what your thoughts are. I wouldn't say I dislike it. I would say I don't prefer it. I guess that's a more diplomatic way of saying it. But yeah, I'll talk about it really quick. So TypeScript is cool. Like the fact that it adds compile time checking to your JavaScript code. The fact that it can give you much better editor support is awesome. And I think TypeScript is really great for large teams. So when you have a code base that multiple people are contributing to, and multiple people all need to know like what is the API for certain things, TypeScript is great. TypeScript is great for that because it's like self-documenting code. Very similar to C# or Java. Because it's statically typed, the editor can do things to give you a better coding experience. So that's great. Those are all the great things about TypeScript. JavaScript was not meant to do all of those things. Like, it's great that we have TypeScript that it can do that, and it can do all those things, but JavaScript, by its nature, is meant to be much simpler. Like, the fact that we have type coercion, and the fact that we have dynamic typing, makes JavaScript a much looser and, in my opinion, like easier to work with language. Like TypeScript adds all of these constraints on top that slow me down as a developer. Now, like I said, in the long run, you might actually get better documentation. There are certain types of bugs that just will not occur with TypeScript if you have the right compiler flags on. But the nature of JavaScript is to be dynamic, to be forgiving, and TypeScript takes all of that away. And I used to be a C# developer, so I used to be in the statically typed world, and then I moved into JavaScript and really learned to love its dynamic nature. The other thing is JavaScript looks like a C-style language. Like, if you've ever coded in C, if you've ever coded in C++, if you've ever coded in C#, if you've ever coded in Java, JavaScript will look very familiar to you. And what happens is you have these developers coming from C#, Java, C++ into the JavaScript world because it's now a much bigger ecosystem and people are building much larger and better apps with JavaScript. And they're all coming from these other types of places where they're used to that. And they see that JavaScript looks like what they're used to, and they try to treat it like that. And if you do that, you're just going to have a bad time with JavaScript, because JavaScript is actually like a lot more functional than it is object-oriented, I would think. And if you throw out the idea that just because JavaScript looks like C# or C++, doesn't mean it actually behaves that way, and you can actually code in a much different way. And with that said, basically all the people coming from the Java and C# world have that mindset, and they're trying to apply that to JavaScript. So TypeScript lets them do that. Instead of treating JavaScript like JavaScript, TypeScript allows those developers to treat JavaScript like a more C-style, like a more restricted language. So that was a long rant. I lost 3 viewers. But that's why I don't prefer TypeScript. Yeah. And the other thing is, you see a lot of large enterprise companies using like Angular, I guess is what they call it now, with TypeScript. And it really, like, when you look at those code bases, it just reminds you of a really, really enterprisey Java code base with all of these interfaces and all of these like factory classes like Doc is mentioning, and I don't like to code in that way. And there's a quote from Kyle Simpson. And actually, for anyone out there that thinks like TypeScript is the way of the future and we should only be using TypeScript, I would like you to or consider reading Kyle Simpson's "You Don't Know JavaScript" book series, and it's now called "You Don't Know JS Yet," because he does a really good job of explaining how JavaScript works and kind of why it works that way, without really giving any opinions on like why you should use it. But He kind of takes the opposite approach to Douglas Crockford. So Douglas Crockford wrote the book JavaScript: The Good Parts, and in his book, he basically talks about there are certain things in JavaScript you should just never do because they lead to bugs. And so if you only code in this specific way in JavaScript, you're going to have a better time. But Kyle Simpson disagrees and basically says if you know why those features exist and when and where you can use them to your advantage versus like only staying to a subset of the language. And so all of his books give you really good insight into why JavaScript is the way it is and how it works. So check it out. And there's a... No, he doesn't. Come on, Daniel. Kyle Simpson, at least this book series is very, very enlightening. Yeah, I'm not familiar with his political affiliations or what he does as a speaker. Like, I just know that this book series is very good and will help you become a much better JavaScript developer. All right. They've been trying to make JS more into Java for a while now. The ES6 class keyword was kind of the starting point. Now TypeScript takes it further. Yeah, and Kyle Simpson doesn't like the class keyword for for that very reason. So like Kyle Simpson was like very like a huge basically saying like adding the class keyword to JavaScript is like lying to people because JavaScript is not a classical inheritance language, and you have all of these C# and Java developers coming into the JavaScript world, and they see that class keyword and they're going to expect it to work in the same way, and it doesn't. So yeah. All right, let's actually write some code. I disagree, Daniel. I think as a JavaScript developer, you need to know, or you should know, how the language works. And that code actually does matter because if you don't know how it works, you're going to end up running into situations where you like reach for things that you wouldn't necessarily need to reach for. Understanding how things truly work, I believe, and again, this is just an opinion, like makes you a better JavaScript developer. Abstract factory numeric orchestrator. Yeah. Cool. All right. Create a function to create a user element. Yeah, let's do it. So, do something like this, like add user to page. And then we'll have a function. Let's do it up here. Add user to page. Takes in the user. And does this stuff. We could do even something like this. We'll say like user element equals create user element. Yeah, let's agree to disagree and write some code, just like you were saying. And so then we can have this function that's create user element that takes in the user, and this will actually create the element. So it gives it the class name of patron. Let's say we have like an h3 with the user's name. And then we can put inner HTML. I'm gonna use inner HTML. So I've talked about this before, but the issue with inner HTML is that if you don't know where this API data is coming from, you are potentially opening yourself up to cross-site scripting. However, I wrote the API. I know like users cannot submit data to this API. It's purely just data that's coming back. So I am comfortable doing this because I know that user.name could only ever be a string. It's not going to be a script tag or something like that. I should also eval the JSON to be extra safe. I'm no longer going to use use the JSON. Cool. So, well, yeah. For now, we just have the username. What did I get rid of? Yeah, and then we're gonna return the user element. So now we should have a bunch of names. Cool. Let's make them bigger, like way bigger. Let's say patron font family is like 3 rims. Did that work? Oh yeah, sorry, font size. Thank you guys. I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah, nice and big. I like that. And we have when they started, when they became a patron. So we have pledge.createdAt. So let's do, we'll just do like a small tag. I'll do a section. We'll give it a class of date. And then inside of here, we're going to create, yeah, not font size. Yeah, you got it. I don't know what I was thinking. We'll take a new date and put in user.createdAt in there. And then I'll just say to date string. And that should give us, user.pledge.createdAt. Yeah. And that does that. Let's find some other JavaScript date functions we can use. We can say date.to date string to locale date string. I want to say something like member since, or like or not even patron. I guess what we'll do is we'll use the reward category. So I can say like droplet since. Create a font on stream and call it 3rim. Yeah, I should do that. Yeah, and that's exactly what I want to do, Shaggy. I was just thinking about that. So basically what I kind of want to do is say like rewards. Actually, we'll do this. We'll just say let rewards. And then when we get the data back from the API, we'll set it on that global variable. Well, no, we'll just pass it around. No global variables. I mean, we have a few, but limited global variables. So we're going to pass rewards into, well, we can't even do that now. Now we have to do this. So we grab the user. We're going to invoke add user to page with the user and the rewards. Now add user to page gets the rewards. It's going to pass that into the create user element. This is like prop drilling in React. And then this function now has access to the rewards. Great. So we can say, actually, well, this is the nice thing about using a template string is you can format it nicely. So we can say user.pledge.reward ID at rewards. Droplet since Friday, June 21st. Let's bring that font size down a little bit. Let's go like 2.5 rim. Actually, we'll just increase the width of the container. No, let's do like 60. Yeah, like that. So a font made to stand out, 3rim. And I don't want the abbreviated date string. So date to what do we get with to GMT string? To ISO string. I missed your comment. My name is script. I feel like, and I would hope that Patreon prevents things like that from happening. But again, like, okay, that's something to mention. So, I created this API here, but that API is actually calling the Patreon API. So if the Patreon API does not sanitize their data, then yes, I could be running into an issue here. So yeah, that's a thing. And to get around it, we can use a what do you call it? A sanitizer. I don't really want to write a sanitizer from scratch. That's the main issue here is I would have to bring in a separate library, which is not at all bad because there's a lot of good libraries and they'll work fairly well. Daniel's asking, what language did I use to write the API? And Brooks pledged $2.55 via Patreon. Thank you so much, Brooks. And if we go to my API response, scroll to the bottom. Wait, no, we're sorted by amount right now. If we sort by pledge date and then scroll to the bottom, there he is. Thank you so much, Brooks. Much, much appreciated. So, oh, and I think you're the first wallflower. So, that'll be good. We'll show a wallflower on the scrolling thingy here. Is there like 2 full string? Yeah. What happens if someone's? You're right. You're right. Okay, we're gonna install a sanitization library, and we'll use that. Hello, Florin. Welcome. My name is Proto. Wait, are you a patron? Oh wait, I don't know. I don't want to use moment. It's so big. We could use date functions. Just use eval. Thanks for the follow, Drone PT. Andrew Lane says you have such a good, or sorry, Boyan says Andrew Lane has such a good eye for cross-site scripting. Cool. You know what? We're not creating that many elements. Oh, like the prototype. Yeah, I see. I'm just gonna create the elements manually because everyone's making a fuss about cross-site scripting. So can I get the day? Yeah, I might end up bringing in date functions because then I can format this because I don't want it to be like a day abbreviate. Like actually. I wanted to say the full month, the day, and the year. So let's bring in date functions. So someone mentioned Moment. Moment is a nice library. It's been around for a very long time, but it's very bloated. And it modifies the date prototype, I'm pretty sure. There's Luxon, which is a fork of Moment that does not modify the date prototype. And then there's date functions, which allows you to only import the functions that you need instead of having to import the entire library. So if we look for format the date, this should work. And let's see if I can get date functions on like CDN.js. The thing about this, because I'm using it in the browser, I technically have to bring the whole thing in anyways. But let's see if this will work. So I am using script type module. So let's say date functions equals, no, sorry, import date functions from that. And then I should be able to say something like date functions dot format. And then pass in my format. Let's see if it works. I have a feeling it's not going to work. Yeah. What's the error? The requested module does not provide an export named default. Darn it. Let's go to it. I do have type equals module. Yeah, that could work. I mean, and I immediately thought of that because we get back an index of the day. I don't think I want to show the day, though. I just want to show month, day, year. Cool. Is this built for the web? I don't know if it is. Webpack universal module definition. If there's no default export, then maybe I can directly import a function. Import format from. Yeah, I'm going to try to destructure it. Let's look at the non-minified version. If type of exports equals an object, type of define equals a function. Let's take a quick stretch. Does get month give me back a oh. Does that give me back a number or an actual month? It gives me back a number. Okay, let's not we're gonna do it from scratch. This is fun. So, but what we can do is create a nice little utility file for it. So format date.js. And then we can do export default format date. So this takes in a date, and then does the stuff. But what we need is an array of all the months. Like a map. Well, no, an array. Because if we say our date equals a new date of 1/1/2019. We say date.get month, not get Monty. Get month. It gives us back 0. So January is 0, and then if we create a date with, does the month go there? Nope. Gives us an 11. So let's type out all the months. I guess we could look them up and copy and paste them. But and thanks for the follow, OZ Sean. Date functions equals import. Will that work? Let's try it. Let's try it. Yeah, it's not gonna work. We're gonna write our own little format function. So we'll say import format date from format date.js, and we'll call format date. We could bring in a library. We could, but we're having fun here. So let's type out all the months. January, February, March, April. How many of you are hating this? Date function / format? Well, it's a JavaScript file, though. I haven't npm installed it or anything like that. And I'm not using a build tool. See you later, Sergio. Thanks for tuning in. Does this really work, Doc? I don't want the weekday, though. Let's look this function up and see what our options are. So, I mean, it looks like JavaScript is getting some stuff that makes it easier for formatting. But what are my options for short, medium, long, full? I don't want the day of the week, though. I could just split on commas. I don't know. Who's gonna stop watching if I make my own date format function? Florin is asking, what are you using to stream live on both platforms? You might have touched. Yeah, so it's a open source thing. It's called Multi-Streamer, and they also provide a Docker container. So I have the Docker container running on my streaming PC, and basically, it can output to multiple RTMP servers. Yeah, and it's totally open source, and I just run it locally. If you use something like this, you're basically using double the bandwidth, but I have a fast enough internet connection where I can basically upload to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. There are hosted services where you can use as well. Moment is your friend, but I don't want to use Moment. All right, we're gonna write it from scratch. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. April, May, June, July, August. A custom date function that shows the season, like winter, spring, summer, fall. Is that what you mean? September, October, November, December. We did it. See you later, Josh. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for modding. David. Hello, David. How's your weekend? It's pretty good. We're just hanging out. I'm about to write a date formatting function. So now that I have the date, wait, why is this complaining? Oh, is it because I have export default? I forgot the function keyword. Okay. So we want to return a template string that just has like a date object dot get month, and we're gonna say months at date object dot get months. Yeah, I should do it. Droplet since June. I think that should be fine because then we can say date dot get day. No. Is that the day of the week? I think we want get date. Yeah, we want get date. Because if we do like that and we say date dot get date, we get back 12. Cool. So get date will give us the number. Then we need to write a function that will add like first, second, third, fourth, that kind of thing. So we'll say date dot get date. Nope, we need to run that, evaluate it. Date object since June 1. Is there anything in the internationalization API that will put like RD, ST, ND on the end of numbers? I feel like I've done a code kata before that does that. Firth. Let's see what Doc did right here. Anno Domini. What is that about? Month is long, day, numeric. Oh, era long. I see. AD. Very good. All right. What is it called when you put like ST or RD or ND on the end of a number? What is that even called? Anyone know? um, ordinal? Ordinal numbers. So I think we just need to get the last digit of the number. Right? Like 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, which is the same as first, second, third, fourth. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. So if we do a number mod 10, first, third, fourth, third. So we'll do a number mod 10. That should give us the last digit, because the remainder of the division of 10 is the last digit of the number. We'll say if last digit is 1, return numberst. Else if last digit is 2, second. Hey, Terminal Bash, what's up? Else if last digit is 3, third. Third. 12land? Oh, dang it. There's too many edge cases. We'll figure those out. We'll see if there's any edge cases if they pop up. Third, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So everything else is 11D. Let's see what we get. So now we'll have get ordinal, and we'll say get ordinal with the date. 13erd. That's fine with me. It's a nice little Easter egg that you'll all know what it means. 13, 11th. Let's see if any of them pop up though. First, second, 8th, 10th, 4th, 6th, 7th, 18th, 2nd, 16th, 27th, 2nd, 12th. So what are the edge cases? Are the edge cases only in the 10s? No. 12th? Yeah. Are the edge cases only in the 10s group? What's the rules for ordinal numbers? 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd. Yeah, so it's in the teens, or in the hundreds in the teens, or in the thousands. Yeah, so what we can do is do mod 100, and that'll give us the last 2 digits. And then we can say, yeah. Does that fix it? Else if isn't needed since if is followed by the return. Okay, I like it. If last digit equals 1 or last tens. So if last digit is 1, And wait, what am I doing? Wait, does this just work? Okay, first, second, 8th, 10th, 4th, 6th, 7th, 18th, 2nd, 16th, 27th, 12th, 24th, 26th, 14th, 19th, 30th, 9th, 12th, 15th, 30th, 1st, 2nd, 4th, 15th, 23rd. So I do need the last digit. Dates will never be 3 digits, so no. Mod 10? Oh, I don't even need to. The date is only ever going to be two digits. Cool. Okay, so we'll just use the number. What did you... Yeah, so we can literally just use the number. So if the number is equal to 1, or the last digit is equal to 1 and the number is greater than 11. This is a chill stream. I never said it was going to be an interesting stream. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so if number is equal to 1, or the last, or the number is greater than 11 and last digit is 1. Yeah. Similarly, if the number is equal to 2, or the number is greater than 12 and the last digit is equal to 2. I think I'm on the right track here, huh? This'll do it. Or the number is greater than 13 and the last digit is equal to 3. Yeah, so we don't need to do... No, you didn't miss anything, Vlad. So that's fine. So we always know that it's going to be 2 digits. I don't know what I was thinking. But we do grab the last digit because that will determine what it is if it's greater than the tens. Because then you have 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. Yeah, should be good. Hello, VF Davis. Welcome. I think we've done it. We should run a really quick test. Let's do this. Let's have just like a for loop that goes from 0 to 100, and we're just gonna log get ordinal of I. 0th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 6th, 7th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, 32nd, 33rd, 34th. That's enough, right? Oh, and we only ever have to go up to 31. Yeah, and there is no 0 date, so I don't even have to worry about that. So, because we're really just doing dates. We've done it. Code challenge. Impromptu code challenge. 1st, 2nd. And then we should be able to get the year pretty easily. Yeah. Oh, what? What? Come on, JavaScript. Oh, get full year. There we go. What is even 119? Yeah. Yeah, I've done it. I'm pretty sure I've done it. Hey. Is that when Majestic Eye rickrolled me? Year counts from the year 1980. Oh, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. Is JavaScript the only thing that does that? JavaScript is 1900? Huh. Weird. But we don't need that. We can just do get full year. think it's pretty good. I think we'll bring the date font size down just a little bit. I really only want it to be on one line. I'm missing a comma. Should there be a comma there? June 1st, comma 2018? How do dates work? And what else did I miss? So true, Doc. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. 11D. 11D. Isn't it just 1 and number not equals 11? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay, we'll put a comma there. And we can do that because we wrote the format date function. January 1st, 2001. Should we keep this centered? Let's see what it looks like centered, because I removed the center on the patron class. Let's see. Yeah, and let's add like an outline around the patron. 2 pixels, solid black. Let's add some padding, like 2 rems. That's too much. Though we could make it a flex box and vertically center everything. The magic of logical equivalency, yeah. Should I fix that? I guess I'll fix that. Why not border? I guess we can use border because we're using box sizing border box. Outline usually does not affect the width of the element. It's like the inner, whereas border will potentially make the element wider. But I think because we have box sizing border box, it doesn't do that. I don't know. Yeah, so we need to center this vertically. Also, we'll give it some margin so that they have a little bit of spacing. Like that. Cool. And let's just do display flex, justify content center, align items center. Should be like direct center now. Nope. We need to do flex direction column because everything's going down. Oh, and then get rid of the padding because now it should just be automatically centered. I guess we could give it a height. Let's see what the height is right now. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's that default padding from the browser. Let's do this. Someone suggested that we do it earlier. We're going to remove the padding and the margin on all of the elements. Let's see what we get. Yeah, look at that. We're building a plant pyramid. And now I think if we add padding now, then it should like be centered in there. Yeah, and look at that. That's nice. Oh, waiting now is pretty. Are there programs that do that UI stuff visually instead of tweaking numbers in code? Probably, yeah. I mean, technically, you can use the developer tools as well. So if you go in here in the elements, and then like select an element, you can change the values. Like let's increase the padding to like 4 rem, and it like gets bigger. Though, after you've changed it, you would need to copy and paste this into your code. What are a lot of the design tools I'm pretty sure will actually generate CSS. Go CJ style and have it in dark mode. Yeah, definitely. Let's invert the colors. Let's do background black, color white. Ooh. And we'll do a border of white. Nice. Okay. And for WordPress, you have the yellow pencil. I guess that's true, yeah. So there are WYSIWYG editors. So what you see is what you get editors where, and really Google Docs or Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office, those are what you see is what you get editors where you just click buttons and it changes the styling. But you best believe that like if you see Google Docs running inside of your browser, behind all of that actually is CSS code that it's generating when you click those buttons. Yeah, so Figma is one of them. So Figma is like a designer tool. And here you can create user interfaces, but I believe it will also generate the styles for the interfaces that you design. So there's that. And then Adobe XD might do that. I think Sketch might do that. Yeah, but I write code. I just prefer to write code. Increase the padding. Yeah, that's better. Though now we need to make this a little bit bigger. We'll go like 70 view width. So I don't want the date to wrap. And I want a little bit of bottom margin on the user's name. Let's give that a class. So in here, the class equals name. And then in our styles, we're going to say the patron name. Margin bottom, 1 rem. And so that pushes it down just a little bit. Yeah. Webflow as well, yeah. Yeah, not sure. Okay, and then let's also add some padding on that main header, or some margin on it. Let's call it title. So up here for the title class, let's just give it some overall margin of like 1 rem. It didn't increase the margin below it. Yeah, that's true, Doc, but I do not plan to translate this. But you have a great point. Like if this were an actual application, I would use like a date formatting library or something like that. And by actual application, I mean like other people using it. This is just something that I'm going to show on stream. So yeah, that's the plan. All right. I'm curious why that didn't increase the... Oh, you know what? It did, but it's only 1 rem. Let's go like 3 rem. Yeah, that's much better. So thank you to all the following people that support me on Patreon. Cool. I think we'll add the emoji for each one. So the reward emojis. It's like that. And I think, yeah, we have the rewards in here. So fertilizer is the poop emoji. Droplet is the water emoji, like that. Wallflower is the sunflower. Tractor is, of course, the tractor emoji. And avocado is the avocado emoji. Oh, thank you, Shaggy. Add my logo to the top right of the box. That'd be cool. And thanks for the follow, and Koku Chichi. Welcome. So now that we have the reward emojis, we're going to put that next to the reward name. Let's take a quick stretch. We're 4 minutes away from advent of code. And I've been streaming for 3 hours. Okay. I'm going to get this working, and then I think we're going to do advent of code. Or at least start it, because it could be extremely hard. I don't like dumpster fire. What is that? Is that an actual dumpster fire emoji, or is that an emote? Yeah. 3 minutes. Yeah. Oh, the panic basket. Okay. So if we say reward emojis at user.pledge.reward ID. Should get an emoji. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right, let's animate it. So we're going to make the body have an overflow of hidden. So that way we can't scroll. So it's just like a fixed size. And then we want to translate the credits. So actually, I guess we'll do a keyframe animation. This is just vanilla JavaScript. So in my HTML, I'm bringing in the JavaScript file, but I have script type of module, and Chrome supports imports and exports. So I'm not using a build tool or anything. It's just vanilla JavaScript. So index.js brings in like this format function file. This is just a template string. We're going to fix this because people are mentioning that we're vulnerable to cross-site scripting. Yeah, day 8 is in 1 minute, basically. I'm not worried about being the first one to solve it anymore because they're getting very hard. And yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's do an animation. So we can start the credits at, we'll do transform, translate, why? Wait, is translate what we want? We basically want to put it off of the screen. I think that's Z. Yeah, we could use top. Let's try translate Y. Negative 100%. I like it. It's going the wrong direction. If I just do like 10 view height, yeah, it brings it down. So if I do like 40 view height, it's like slowly going down. So I want it to be 100 view height. So now it's off of the screen. I mean, if I do 90, yeah, so 90, it's like right there. But basically, we're going to make this like the credits at the end of the movie where it just like scrolls up. So we're going to start it off at, let's say, 100 and translate Y 110 view height. And then we want an animation. So we'll say scroll. We're going to take, I don't know, 30 seconds to do it. And we're going to do ease in out. I don't know. I have to look up how to do CSS keyframes. Oh, that fills the shorthand? That's just built into VS Code. Yeah, so if you're in CSS, at least for oh, this is Emmet. I don't think I have Emmet installed though. Yeah, it's just Emmet. Is this how keyframes work? So at 0%, I don't I don't know what I have installed that's doing it. Yeah, so 0% is that, and then 100% is going to be transform 100% of the object height. I think that's wrong. I gotta figure out the syntax for keyframe animation. Yep, this is VS Code. At keyframes, name your animation. 0%. Oh, negative 100 view height? I thought so. I wanted to set that because it's like the initial value, and then when the animation is over, it goes back to that, which is why I have that. Let's see what's happening. Oh, there they are. It's just taking so it takes 30 seconds because it's gonna scroll the whole thing. There we go. Does it look okay on the stream? Because like when I'm oh yeah, that didn't work. I think I want to do negative 100% because that's gonna be the height of the element, I believe. And let's just do it really fast. We'll do like 5 seconds. That's awesome. I think that's what, so I'm gonna go like negative 110%. Cool. Yeah, and so the reason I have this set there is because the animation by default only runs once, and when it's done running, it sets the transform back to the original value. So if I get rid of that, after the animation, it goes back, and I don't want that. So that's why I have the default transform value. If I do 30 seconds, let's see what happens. That's too fast. That's way too fast. We need to go slower than that. And the more patrons that I get, the slower it'll need to go. Um, 60 seconds? Basically what I can do is just do ease. Yeah, so it's doing that weird. Yeah, and so ease in out, you can see that like right when it gets back, right when it gets to the bottom, it like slows down or speeds up a little bit. So really I just want to do is linear is a thing. Yeah, let's do linear. Add so do ease forward. Yeah, on my screen it is not bouncy. Like when I'm looking at it right now, it's actually really smooth. But I can see on the screen over there it does look bouncy, and I don't know why. I'm making this thing. So this is a these are all of my patrons, and this is a nice little credits reel that I'm basically going to show at the end of every stream, or like in the middle of a stream too, to thank all the people that support me. Oh, with forward it doesn't go back to its initial state, so let's do it. So we'll do ease forwards. Let's try it. I like it. Thank you all. Try removing the border and only add a bottom border. That sounds good to me. Let's do border bottom. I like that. I don't like that it looks jumpy on the screen, though. That's too fast. I need to slow it down a little bit. Remove the margin? How can I increase the frame rate? It slows down when it got back to, I can't increase for it slows down when it gets to the bottom though. I don't like that. I think if I do linear, it won't ease, right? So I think I want linear forwards. And then no margin? Is that what we're thinking? Yeah? Where users start leaving. I like it. Should I put the number of dollars that they are supporting me with? Or is it nice to just see their the category? Yeah, that's a good point, Andrew. I don't know the length of the array until the data loads, though. I could set it with JavaScript, though. Yeah, let's actually do this. Which... Yeah. Oh, they're all off. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So, and actually, I kind of need to go. I've been streaming for 3.5 hours, but right now I was just using hard coded data. Let's do it. So I'm gonna put the total amount they supported, and then we will and actually, what if it doesn't start at below the bottom? What if it fades in and then just like continuously scroll? Yeah, I like the idea of continuously scrolling. Infinite? Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's do it. Linear. I think if I set it to infinite, I have to give it an initial transform value, though, don't I? Let's see. We're going to speed it up. We're going to go in 10 seconds. Hey, look at that. So that's cool. But yeah, who was it that mentioned? Yeah, Andrew mentioned we should set it based on the number of users. So I think I could do this. We're going to set the animation property in the JavaScript after we get back all of the users. So we'll add the user to the page, and then we'll say, well, we need to create a variable. We'll say credits element dot style dot animation equals this. And we want, let's say, 1 second per user. So we could do users.length times 1. Let's create a variable for the credits element. I could set the animation duration. I'll just set the whole thing. I don't mind. I gotta go anyways. But now that I'm doing this, I do need to set the initial translate y. Because when the page loads, I need it to be off of the screen. Yep. So if we look at it, we can see what it actually got set to. There are 34, 33 patrons. Yeah, so 33 seconds. Very nice. So that's 1 second per patron. We could do like 2 seconds per patron. I think that'd be okay. That's nice. Not bad at all. All right, let's find a nice font to use. 1.5 seconds? Okay. I usually use ShareTech, the ShareTech font. Anybody have a font suggestion? I like this one. It's like my coding garden font. Let's see what it looks like. IBM? Montserrat? Montserrat? I always say Montserrat, don't I? Monster Rat? Let's take a quick stretch. Coding is, I agree. I like coding. Sebastian is asking, do you know if there's a difference in setting up the font through a link versus an import in CSS? At the end of the day, it works in the same way. So the browser will still have to make a request for that font file and load it in. So yeah. Flex. Yeah, if you do !break, you'll get a link to the break timer that I use. Yeah, I like this font. It's the font I use for most Coding Garden things. I think I'll just use it. Oh, the IBM font. I'm gonna go with this. Let's put their dollar amount, and then I'm gonna go because, I mean, I could look at Advent of Code, but I'm kind of I'm kind of over it. Like yesterday was so bad. I had no idea what to do. Okay, so I think, yeah, pledge.amount cents. We can create a little function that converts it from cents to dollars. Format money takes in the cents. We're gonna return cents divided by 100, and we're gonna do two fixed. Well, no. Well, we want to pad the decimals. Because if it... Well, actually, there are no decimals. That's fine. We'll just do cents divided by 100. We'll put a dollar sign in front of it. Yeah, that should be fine. Don't overload myself. Yeah, I need to take a break. Okay, format money. And then pass in user.pledge.amount cents. I think it's going to make the line wrap, so we might need to... Wait, where'd the dollar sign go? Oh. I need a double dollar sign because this dollar sign is for interpreting the variable. Yeah. And thanks for the follow, Camilo. It's not bad. I just want to wait for like a really long one to see if it if it wraps the line. A medium gray? I'm okay with that. Let's try it. Anybody have a hex code for a color they'd like to see? And actually, let's see what it... How do we feel about that line being all the way across? Like, shouldn't it really only be... basically the size of the element? Make the amount green. I like that. Let's use the Coding Garden green. This green right here. Florin, is that a gray color? We'll try it. It's the only hex I know. So we'll do span. Class is money. Money. And then we'll add a money class in here. Um, look at that hex color again. Oh. Let's try this. Thank you, Andrew. Is this a gray? That's greenish. Okay. Um, oh, well, I need to put the money inside the span. Not bad. What do you all think? Actually, okay. I think this is good enough. And actually, let's see what this looks like as a browser overlay. So, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, let me just add a browser source. So I kind of like this. So instead of it being like its own screen, it could actually be like an overlay on the whole thing. And then we can give them a background color of like an opaque black. The border needs to be like 30% opacity. I think there shouldn't be a border at all. So there's a lot of opinions. If we give these things, 30% width. Yeah. I see. Though, let's just make this, now that it's full screen, if we do like 50. What you think about that? We'll go 40. Why not 40? Filter blur 4 pixels. Does that blur the text? Let's just add it. Let's see what happens. Or does that blur the edges? It's like slightly everything. It's like, oh, I'm drunk. I can't read it. Is it live? Hello, cubes. Yes, we are live. We're live. Is it live? I'm gonna give it a background. Zero. Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, that way there's a little bit. This is not bad. Opacity 0.5. Let's do that. And I think what I want to do is I want to make the title like a little bit bigger. Like that. And then no border. Yeah, why not? Let's just get rid of the border. Thanks, Cube. I appreciate that. And then do background color on the whole thing. Yeah. Why not? We could tweak this all day. Instead of a horizontal line, why not maybe a green solid? Okay, this is the last time I'm going to show it. Thank you, Danny, for the $1 patron since June 1st of 2019. Thanks, Derek, for fertilizer. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, JB Pratt. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Brock. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Oliver, who's been with us since August 18th, 2019. Thanks, Charlotta. Thanks, Sean. Thank you to Konstantinos. Thanks to Aaron, spelled with only one A, not two A's. Thanks to Heath. Thank you, Code Runner. Thank you, Simjohn. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Cedric. Thank you, Preservation. Thank you, Bob's Paradox. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, Yermi Sekis. Thank you, Daniel, who has the $25 avocado. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Casual. And thank you, Joshua. I could not do this without you. You are all wonderful, wonderful human beings. And I just remembered I forgot to actually call the API. So there's one more patron. It's Brooks. Thank you, Shaggy. So I got to do it one more time because I forgot Brooks. I think we're gonna need 3 seconds per. Yeah, it's okay. I won't say it all again, but I will. We'll watch it happen. Yeah, it loops. I think that's okay, though. Because otherwise, I'm not really sure how I would get a browser source to refresh on load. There's probably a way to do it in OBS. I just have to figure that out. Build a bot to read out. That wouldn't be like if I could find like a really nice text-to-speech API that reads everything. Well, thank you, Jorge. Appreciate that. Matthias liked the border. We can maybe add the border back. And thanks to Brooks, our very first wallflower at $2.55 a month. You're all wonderful. I appreciate you so much. Actually, does it loop? Yeah, it does. And if I turn it back on, it takes off. I'm pretty sure it... Yeah, so if I turn it off, when I turn it back on, it continues from where it was. Let's see. Yeah, like slightly. There's probably a way for me to reset it. Okay. Yeah, Andrew with the 99.93 drops. IBM TTS has it's an emoticons? Oh, emotions? I might check that out. Hello, Spike. I'm doing pretty good. I'm gonna go now because I've been streaming for 3 hours and 41 minutes. Awesome, Sebastian. I'm glad you could tune in. Let's see. Uptime. Oh, Alcabot is in here. Hello, Alcabot. He also responds to things like pup time. Thank you, Majestic Eye. Cool. Yeah, that's it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This was a chill stream. We did a little bit of coding. No worries, Majestic Eye. Yeah, we did a little bit of coding. Thanks for everyone that followed. I think I acknowledged most of them. Jane Wayne, thanks for the follow. Drone OZ. Yeah, I think I acknowledged most of those. I appreciate that. Let's watch it one more time because I appreciate all these patrons. Actually, I will reset it. There we go. Cool. I'm tired and apparently can't talk anymore. Yeah, and this stream is brought to you by viewers like you. Look at all these wonderful viewers like you. Look at that. Florin Pop pledged $5 via Patreon. Let's refresh the cash. Thank you so much, Florin. Now your name should show up at the bottom when it comes back up. But Coding Garden is brought to you by viewers like you. Thanks to all of these wonderful people that have pledged on Patreon. You can give as little as $1 a month. It helps me do the things that I do. It helps me take time out of my day to plan content and things like that. So I could not do it without all these patrons. Also to all of the people that donate. I believe during this stream we've had 2 super chats, one from Casual Gameplay for $50, and another. Well, that was just a donation, and a super chat from a Maddow for $1.49. I appreciate you all so much. And here comes Florin at some point, who just pledged on Patreon. Life is Yours says, "You're great, man. First time I see your stream. Thanks so much. Thanks for tuning in. I think you came along with the Alt F4 stream raid. Oh yeah, and thanks to the Alt F4 stream for raiding and all you nice people hanging out with us. There he is, Florin. Thanks so much, Florin. Really appreciate it. Alrighty, everyone. Thanks for watching. I guess let's raid somebody. Gotta figure out who, but let's do it. And thanks for the follow. The Life is Yours. Following also helps. I am I think I'm close to 1,000 followers. Yeah, 944. We're getting there. Oh, that's awesome, Florin. Yeah. Feel free to, if you're on the Discord, shoot me a message. I can. Oh yeah, we have to raid Alka. We have to. He's doing Advent of Code. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. No question. We're gonna raid Alka. What's up, Alka? Are you listening to me, or did somebody type Alka? That's the Alka bot is also in the channel. Let's get our raid message ready. This is our raid message. Got a seedling and a little heart and another little seedling like that. And there's the Andrew's bot dropping all day long. Yeah, so copy and paste that raid message. We're gonna raid Alka. We're gonna send him lots of love and lots of support while he tries to solve today's Advent of Code. And I am going to rest for tonight. I might try Advent of Code tomorrow, but I'm pretty burnt out on it. So, oh, also, anybody watching on YouTube, you can head over here to Twitch and help us raid Alka. And if you don't know Alka, he's a moderator on my stream. He streams himself. He's a moderator of the Coding Train on YouTube and a moderator of hundreds of channels on Twitch. He has AlkaBot, which is one of the best Twitch bots. Oh, I totally forgot to answer questions. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mahidra. But all of your questions are saved. They're right here. And if you want to make sure that they stick around, ask them on qa.coding.garden. Yeah, so if you ask them there, they will for sure. I'll be there, and I'll remember to answer them. The next stream I do will probably be just like a morning tea where I mostly just answer questions. So that's what we'll do. Alrighty, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're gonna raid Alka. And wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.